Aunt Sarah, Aunt Sarah, my skin is yellow, my hair is long, between two worlds I do belong. My father was rich and white. He forced my mother late one night. What do they call me? My name is Saffronia. My name is Saffronia. My skin is tan, my hair is fine, my hips invite you, my mouth like wine. Whose little girl am I? Anyone who has money to buy. What do they call me? My name is Sweet Thing. My name is Sweet Thing. Is brown, my manner is tough. I'll kill the first mother I see. My life has been rough. I'm awfully bitter these days because my parents were slaves.
You're listening to WRD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership Council. And today we are here with Emma Chappelle, and we have a special guest in the studio who is our friend, a long-term councilwoman who has a luscious and long history of helping people. And she's one of our sisters. And so we're going to say good morning to Councilwoman Blackwell.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Oh, it is such an honor to be here. I'm grateful to be invited and be included. And I'm happy to be with my sisters as well.
Well, we got so much to talk about this morning. We're so glad that you're here with us. We know that you've done so much for the city. It's too numerous to list. One of my favorites is your Christmas party for the homeless, and I think I've never seen anything like it, to be honest with you.
It must be 1,000 people out there.
It must be 1,000, and you
At least,
not only
right?
do you feed them, you give them gifts. They look forward to this. It looks like it gets bigger and bigger every year. How many years have you been doing that?
Gosh, we've been doing it like 20 years now, and we've had up to 8,000 people there.
Wow.
I believe it.
And our minimum number has been 5,000.
Wow.
So we have many, many people who come, and certainly we invite all the shelter folks and people who live on the streets, people who just just don't have enough money to make it.
Yeah.
Some live in PHA. Just people who know that they are loved, they're invited, and they come, and their kids can get their hair cut, they can get their face painted, they can ride on moon bounces that are inside, so they're so high. We have computers now. Kids like to play on computers in this world. And before we give out some bikes, thanks to you. And
Wes?
and yes,
It's
yes.
been a long history. We've had enough PRWT. Every year we get different people, but Wes has been consistent in giving the bikes. Yes.
Oh, it's been wonderful. The police help us, and they also give bikes, and so many people help out. We are so grateful that we have so much that we can give, and Kevin Parker gives everybody a wonderful holiday, a Christmas meal. You know what that means: turkey and
Yeah, and
filling and
and all the
greens
trimmings.
It's
and
a
everything
good
that
kitchen.
goes
It's a good
with it.
kitchen. All the trimmings.
And all that goes.
You're making
with
us hungry.
That's right. And we still have Santa Claus. We lost one last year, but we still have Santa Claus, and folks can, people get their gifts on their way out. We learned that after the first year.
Right.
First year, we let them get their gifts, and they would just open it, throw the paper on the floor, and say, okay, next. They were ready for another one. So
Okay.
all that we've learned over the years, we use as we move on, and we're just grateful for all the people who give. PFT has come to collect from schools, and they give us more toys than anyone else. And it's
Really?
wonderful because people who have give. Schools who don't contribute and don't live near where we are at the convention center give. And it's wonderful that people realize that we can all share what we have. And we're grateful for everything that we get, that children can get toys, that their parents can come, and that people can feel welcome and loved. And of course, we have a DJ. I always say we won't have boring speeches
Right.
from politicians. So, so after
you
we
give
have
us the
prayer,
music.
yes, we have a DJ so they can dance and really know that it's a party for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's
You
a
have
party
staff
for them.
that does that, and they work on it all year round.
Oh yes, and
Because that's
we.
a big
It's
thing
a
to put
big
together.
job.
It really, really is. So we.
So now you do two. You do one outside,
Yes, we
and
do.
then you do the one at the convention center.
That's right. And we do one, at Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
University Sciences helps us with baskets, which is really all the dry stuff, the canned vegetables, the potatoes, the sweet potatoes, all of that.
That's
And
great.
Allegro Pizza at 40th and Spruce helps us with turkeys. So they buy a lot of turkeys, we buy some, and the University of Sciences gives us all the rest. And we do that every year for Thanksgiving. And then in the summer, the Friday closest to my birthday, which is July 15th, we call it everybody's birthday.
Right.
Everybody has a birthday. This is your birthday party. We're going to have a DJ. You can dance, and we do it in the courtyard. So people are outside. They're in the middle of the courtyard, and they get, we cook hamburgers and hot sausages, and we have potato salad, macaroni salad, and pretzels, and water ice, and all of that.
And a birthday cake, because that's my grandson's favorite part.
Yeah.
He was
He's
worried last year
always-
that you didn't eat none of your cake.
Yeah, how about it? He's so good. He always helps out and never gets tired of passing out and helping and doing what he
a lot of
can.
energy.
Yes.
So I'm old enough to remember when you and Lou Blackwell would go down into the subway systems and bring food to the homeless.
That's where it started.
And
Yes.
and it was just amazing that the sensitivity, the understanding that there are those among us that don't have, and you never turned your back. Both you as a couple and you as an individual have kept a long history of looking at people who have been less fortunate. We're in a city with 26% poverty. Give me some thoughts on what you think we can do, both as a city and what the elected officials can do to shed some, not just shed light on it, but we've got to have some prescriptions to try to turn this around. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, listen, we started a program, and I think all elected officials can work on it even in their area. We started a program 2 years ago with Penn called Penn Assist. We, in my area where I have zip codes 0443 and 39, we train young people in the schools, and we also hire their parents. We've started a program where children in neighborhood schools and parents can get jobs. They can get a job training. As Penn is always building, you know, they're the billion-dollar agency and university.
The most largest employer,
kids
right?
Higher, that's right. And we've done the same thing with Brandywine and Drexel, where we train people, and Brandywine has given out millions of dollars to the community groups in the area, so that the community groups can get the things they need for their people.
Brandywine what? Brandywine Trust? Or Brandywine what?
Yes, and
Brandywine
that's
Trust.
Schuylkill Yards.
Schuylkill Yards.
People know, where they're building around 30th Street.
Okay.
And so they are hiring from the community as well, training people in the community.
That's important.
That's right. So if you deal with the schools now, they want to rebuild University City High School. But if you train in the schools, train young people so that they can get jobs, hire their parents from the area, you can make a difference and insist that you have inclusion.
Right.
I read someplace where they said I had 35%, but we've got more than that. We have, I have like 50% inclusion in my projects. And Children's Hospital has announced that for kids with this asbestos, they've spent nearly $10 million already fixing up their homes in the area. And they are committed to $25 million and 100 homes to fix homes in my area.
Wow.
With children who, where children have asbestos. And not only that, they're doing it with 100% of minority contractors.
And that's what we have to do, because part of the problem is that, you know, I was reading an old article about the late Mayor Maynard Jackson.
Yes.
Where he refused to build the airport.
He was the model.
He was the model. And what we're asking of all of our elected officials, in particular the mayoral candidates, is that they got to follow that man. You can't be passive and then change the poverty in the city. You have to take some very, very aggressive steps in order to do it. And Maynard Jackson was willing not to build the airport.
That's
until
right.
those business people came to the table and negotiated. And at that time, he asked for 25%, and they thought no. But eventually he got 20%, and as a result, he made millionaires down there. And it wasn't just to make millionaires, but those big businesses hired people that look like that community.
Absolutely, and we can do that. And certainly I can do it as a council person. We know a mayor can do it.
That's right.
To have 100% minority contractors do the work to help children, our children, in homes where they have asbestos, to fix up their homes, to commit to $25 million, and to do at least 100 homes. That's a big undertaking. We have the commitment. It's been made public, and we're glad to repeat that. We can do it. We just have to decide that we are going to struggle together. We'll fight together, and our institutions will work with us if we decide where our bottom line is and if we insist.
I agree.
I have a comment on that, because every time I hear that the mayor says he leaves the decisions up to his staff, I cannot imagine a mayor or any CEO of any company or of any city leaving the decisions up to their staff and not giving them direction. So something is wrong with that picture.
Well, leaders must lead, which Lucian Blackwell used to say all the time.
That's
One
right.
of his famous quotes, leaders must lead. and we must. Our staff are to assist us, to help us. They may even come up with ideas
Right.
that we use. But leaders must lead. We have to do our part and make these things a reality. And this mayor can as well. I sat next to him the whole time he was in city council. So I understand him. I believe he wants to do the right thing. But certainly you can't say that. Leaders have to make these decisions.
That's right.
We're going to come back. We're going to take a break. You're listening to WRD 96.5 FM. 96.1 FM. Sorry. And 900 AM. And that's because whenever I start to get to talking and get with my women here, I forget. We'll be right back.
At Dietz & Watson, we've spent over 75 years focusing on the details. This can be traced back to our founder, Gottlieb Dietz, who learned how to make Franks and sausages the right way in Germany. Today, each one of our delicious offerings is meticulously crafted using perfected details. Because if it isn't good enough for our family, it isn't good enough for yours. To us, the details make all the difference.
This is Cody Anderson. Palace Travel provided me with one of the most memorable trips I've taken to Ghana, West Africa. Palace Travel specializes in tours to Africa, including Ghana, Senegal, and South Africa. Throughout the year, Palace Travel has scheduled trips to Africa, including the next Panafest celebration in Ghana, July 2019. The trip of a lifetime, the historic return of the African diaspora after 400 years in the Americas, August 5th to 14th. Africa's improvement on Coachella, the annual Afrochella Festival in Ghana, December 27th to January 3rd. Ring in the new year in Ghana. Call Palace Travel to reserve your place on one of their scheduled Africa trips with convenient payment plans. Call Palace Travel today at 215-471-8555 or visit their website at palacetravel.com.
WordRadio.com.
Hey loves, this message is for parents and grandparents. I want to talk to you about your kids and the schools they attend every day. Is something wrong? Are the programs and classes letting both of you down? Does your child struggle with reading and basic math? Is the inflexible schedule of your elementary, middle, or high school turning your world upside down? Is your child being bullied or intimidated on a daily basis at school? If some of these questions apply to you, maybe it's time to contact Commonwealth Charter Academy. CCA is a public cyber charter school exclusively serving students in Pennsylvania, grades K through 12 at no cost to families. CCA provides internet service reimbursement and a laptop, all at no cost to families.
Check out their next open house on Monday, April 29th at 300 Beatty Road in Media, PA, starting at 6:30 p.m. Visit ccaeducate.me today for details. That's ccaeducate.me.
You're listening to The Source on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
You're listening to WRD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership. Here today with Joanne Bell, Emma Chappelle, and Rita Hill, and our special guest, our sister, Councilwoman Janie Blackwell. We're going to go immediately to 9-1 Ron, and then we're going to go right back to the Councilwoman.
Good morning, Miss Emma.
Good morning. How you doing?
Let me say this.
when Miss Janie Blackwell, through the years, Miss Emma,
Yes,
whenever we be in the church,
that's right.
Miss Janie Blackwell walks over to me and give me a little, you give me an embrace, and I get to sing. And every church, we've been doing it for years.
Yeah, and she comes to all the churches when she knows the people and for whatever events they're having in their honor.
Let me finish. And they say, who got Ryan in orbit like that? It's Miss Blackwell.
Yeah,
And
that's
one
great.
time I saw Miss Blackwell, and I told Miss Blackwell this. I said, Miss Blackwell, heaven needs no help. They need help here on earth.
Right.
And because of it, she turned around and told me, she said, Ryan, my people is running ahead of me, and I must hurry up and catch up with them. And she got on
That's
the move.
beautiful.
And that's purpose in life.
That is.
Her resume will read many years, and for many years, Lord, I tried.
That's
I'm
right.
glad that he have never sent a spook. He have always sent a person like her, and in particular the women. And Ryan is saying this, men don't do great things. Women does great things. That bosom of caring and really extreme caring. And who's any better to speak with the least of these is the female. So I thank Ms. Blackwell for all she have done, and may the Lord bless all y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
God bless you. Lord, I Tried was one of Lou's favorite songs.
Was it? Lord, I tried.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about what your plans are going forward for your next term in council, and tell us a little bit about the accomplishments that you've had over the years.
Well, we've been grateful. We have more awards, everything from the Sammy, from Local 332, you name it. And certainly we were grateful from Kenny Gamble, and I have so many labor awards, so many other awards. Let's set awards from just schools and people. I'm grateful. And that people have been kind enough to acknowledge what some of the things we've tried to do. We want to continue what we've started. We're looking forward to a new school to replace University City High School. I want to have a hearing before we recess in June. It'll be a resolution because technically we are not, I'm chair of the City Council Committee on Education as well as Finance, and I'm vice chair of the Committee on Housing, Neighbor Development, the Homeless, and a member of Appropriations, Disability, many committees. But we want to have a hearing to talk about the curriculum in the school board. So by law, we can't tell them what they should do.
Right.
But by way of a resolution, we can have that hearing. And we want to talk about things that, some of these things that Alan Dom is saying are very good in terms of what we should do to help our youngsters learn about money, about business, about economic security. And we want to, we have another young lady whose name just skipped me, who just came to me 2 days ago, who's written a series of books for children in schools, and Bumi Fernandez has written books. We want to have that included in our hearing, and Malethi Asante. We've been dealing with Dr. Height and Malethi and his agenda about children learning their history in school. And my issue is still, and they laugh at me, but cursive writing. I think children
Absolutely.
should
We
be
are
able-
This all the time.
We talk about it on the radio.
Yes, we do.
Where are they? They're going to be lost when it comes time for them to negotiate documents and things of that sort.
That's right. So we want to have a public hearing to talk about what we think should be included in this agenda. And since we haven't been able to make them do it, we want to formalize it, and we're going to have a resolution, an agenda on what should be included in learning in schools. You know, we introduced the legislation that called for us to change the school board so we could make it local. Then that happened. We put it on the ballot due to our legislation, and now we have a local school board again. And I will say I'm encouraged. I like the people I see. I believe they are sincere, and I'm looking forward to us working together to try to improve the agenda in our schools, to try to have people feel secure that schools are doing better, and to have schools look better, be better, and focus more in many ways on what our children can do. We also introduced legislation that said if the city's open and the school district is closed, the city has to provide lunches for children, because some children need that.
That's the only meal they get.
Only meal
during
they
the day,
get.
yes.
So we did that as well. And we try to be open to everybody and their ideas. We have so many ideas on what can happen.
Before we leave that part about the school curriculum, one of the things that we've talked about at Black Women's Leadership is returning home economics to the school district. Many people, our young men and women, do not know how to cook. They think cooking is going to the store and buying prepared foods from, fast foods. And that has a lot to do with what the diet is. And so if you put them in a room with staples just off the shelf, they wouldn't know what to do with that. And so we need to return to all of the things that home economics, that's building, better families, and because it also has as much of a health initiative as the issues as we have around the soda tax and the sugary beverages, which we have been on record here not being for. And we are for pre-K. And we are for rebuild, but we are not for the soda tax. And we believe if it was such a tax, it should have been directed to the things that it was for. If it was for health reasons, there's plenty of need for programs to help our people eat healthy, and I don't see those investments being made.
Yes, Jim Roebuck always talks about when he had shop in school, State Representative Jim Roebuck, and about cooking, and so maybe we'll include that. I'll be in touch with you. We can get someone
Certainly.
to.
Emma can burn in the kitchen.
We'll have
so
her
can
come and-
Joanne.
Yeah, so can Joanne. We
Yeah.
both are good cooks.
Well, you all need to come my way, because it's been so long since I cooked. Lucian Blackwell's been gone more than 16 years. The last time I turned on water for a cup of tea, I went down the basement to wash and forgot and burned the kettle.
Oh no!
So, been too long for
Don't
me.
cook.
All the
Order
kitchen-
in. Order in.
Oh, yeah, I tell you.
There was one thing I wanted to say before you leave the educational piece, and you kind of touched on that. And the other thing is that we've been talking about technical training,
Yes,
about what people
yes.
can, like the old Dobbins, or like Dobbins and Bach, when they
Yes.
used to teach young people how to do things with their hands, like electricity and plumbing and
That's right.
and like West Philly making cars and stuff like that. Do you
And I
remember
have
that?
those in my area. I have the community college car shops
Shop.
in my area, as well as the and we have a high school in my area, and they're working with the community college as well, and they're next to one another, and it's very, very, very important that we take these skills and that we do right by them for children who want those kinds of skills. And
And a lot of children don't want to go to college today.
That's right.
The cost of the education in college, and they don't know what they want to do with it, but their father may have been a mechanic, somebody may have done something, and they've learned from them. They just need formalization of the things
That's
they can
right.
do.
Listen, if you own a house and you got to call a plumber, he costs more than your trip
Exactly.
to the doctor. So
That is the truth.
You just dealt with Rita just dealt with that.
So those are the trades that we need to be teaching, and we need to bring those back into school. And the other thing, and I don't know where, I heard this somewhere, and I forgot where I heard it, so I don't want to take credit for it. But the programs that were in the high schools were like 2-year programs when they needed a 3-year program to make them come in
Yes.
at the journeyman level. And so we need to get away from some of the little games that gets played that continuously locks our children out from these benefits. So we would really support a hearing that would talk about a
that's
curriculum
great.
change in the schools.
That's
We
great.
would.
And we work with
Absolutely.
the CAP program. They've been great. We work with labor in terms of training. And so we try to work with labor with the universities and private industry, and we've really formed a good relationship to do training.
Oh, great.
And to hire in neighborhoods, in our neighborhoods. So we thought if we could create a good pilot, people could take advantage of it and do these kinds of programs in their areas as well. We've come a long way.
That's beautiful.
But you got to stand up, and when people know you're not doing it you're not doing it because you're not serious, and when the institutions know, the bottom line is they realize if they want this legislation, we've got to make an agreement on these jobs and on the training, and it works itself out. It does, but you've got to put your foot down.
Yeah,
That's right. Here's the other thing that concerns me. The statistics say that it's only 2.5% African American owned businesses in the city. We have to do better. And because if you have more minority owned businesses, they will hire more minorities.
That's
and
right.
if you starve off the businesses, you kill the ability for them to hire. They're more likely to headquarter themselves locally. They're more likely to do things in the community beyond just what happens between 9 and 5. They'll make the appropriate investments. You show your children that they can do that too.
Absolutely.
When people see people who look like them do well, they're more encouraged to do well. This city, not just under this mayor, but this city for the last 30, 40 years has done very little to build minority businesses. And I want to see a hearing in City Council on those barriers beyond just doing a study. I want it because the barriers are people who are sitting, who are being appointed to positions, bring their biases to in the writing of RFPs, in the panels that they have. And at the end, we hear these things that they don't measure up. We've got to stop it in a city that is majority minority.
That's correct.
So we want to see, we're going to ask every council person to commit to having a hearing, to do a further investigation. And we're not going away. For those out there that think we're going away when the election is over, no, we're just getting started. The worst thing that you can have is some black women who don't care what you think about them. Okay? And they're going to do what they're going to do.
That's right.
And they're going to continue to do it. And we don't care what you think.
Yes.
Because we're trying to help our community and inform them on what is really happening in this city and why we're in the condition we're in. Because we're not paying attention to what people are doing. And I know there was one other thing that came up. Joanne was talking about, what was that? I'm sorry, I missed it then. What was the last thing you said?
About wanting to have a hearing.
Hearing, okay.
In order to talk about what are the barriers with growing black. We should not be in a city the size that it is with a 2.5% African American businesses. We're getting beat out by Detroit, who's coming back. We've been beat out by Chicago. We're beat out by New York. We're beat out by D.C. We're beat out by Baltimore. We're beat out by Atlanta. We're beat out by New Orleans. Something's wrong here if we can't do better than that.
And what I was going to say, there was another hearing that took place this past week, and that hearing was about real estate. And it said, you may have heard this, I think it was the Realtors hearing, and they were honoring them. That's really what they were doing, honoring them. And when the woman got up to talk about what they've been doing over the last few years, she said that in 2015, the residents, or African Americans, owned 50% of the residents in Philadelphia. Now, and then by 2017, she said we were now down to 42%, when we had been as high as 60%. So that gets to this gentrification, moving black people out of the neighborhoods, and things of that sort. That's what was developed. Now needs to be a hearing on that.
We're going to let the councilwoman answer. We have to take a break. You're listening to WRD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source, Black Women's Leadership. We'll be right back.
News you can use.
Exclusively on Wake Up with Word.
Hosted by the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith. Weekdays, 7 a.m. till 10 a.m.
On Word Radio, wordradio.com, and on the Word Radio app.
The Kimmel Center offers free arts education programs to schools across the region. Teaching artists visit classrooms to educate, engage, and inspire the next generation using creative learning experiences, and schools take trips to the Kimmel Center for live performances. The Kimmel Center is committed to educating Philadelphia's youth by providing access to quality arts. For more information, visit kimmelcenter.org.
Pennsylvania is in the midst of the worst ever overdose death epidemic and the worst public health crisis in the last 100 years. The Pennsylvania Department of Drug and Alcohol Programs is leading the efforts to prevent and reduce drug, alcohol, and gambling addiction and abuse, and has undertaken initiatives to reduce the human and economic impact of the epidemic with the prevention and treatment of substance use. If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, get help now. Call 1-800-662-HELP. That's 1-800-662-HELP. Call today.
Be heard.
Be heard.
Want another way to join the conversation?
Follow us on social media
Using the hashtag onWURD.
Be heard.
Stay connected to Word Radio.
Independent Black Media.
Next Thursday, you will be caught in an extreme flash flood.
Disasters don't plan ahead, but you can. Talk to your loved ones about making an emergency plan. Get started today at ready.gov/plan. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You know we don't play when it comes to our mothers, and if we could give them the world, we definitely would. This Mother's Day, celebrate your mother in a way she'll never forget. Start or renew your 4Word membership between now and May 6th, and be entered to win our exclusive 4Word Mother's Day prize package, which includes a pair of tickets to the Mother's Day Music Fest in Atlantic City, Saturday, May 11th, featuring Maze with Frankie Beverly, Christopher Williams, Kim, and Al B. Shore, a gift certificate to Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa, dinner for two at Green Soul Restaurant in downtown Philadelphia, and an overnight stay at the Cambria Hotel Philadelphia downtown. Don't miss this opportunity to create some special memories with Mom. To be entered to win, start or renew your 4Word membership between now and May 6th by calling 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com.
You're listening to The Source
On Word Radio.
96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
So we're back. You're listening to WRD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership. When we let in, we did 4 women. And so at the time, Janie Blackwell, Emma Chappelle, and I were in the studio, and I made the drastic mistake to say the 4th was on her way somewhere on the highway, and that was Rita Hill, who's in here. But Kayla J put me in my place. No. She said, "You got 4 women. I'm here." Okay?
That's right.
And I was like, "Okay, Kayla,
Okay.
I deserve that." I was dismissing Kayla, who plays you all of that wonderful music. So, Kayla, that's my on-air apology to you.
Oh, wow.
So let's go back.
I'm glad I didn't say it.
So let's go back. When we went off the break, we were talking about your various accomplishments, and of course, we interjected our thoughts into what ought to be in the education hearing. Then we suggested a hearing that you ought to have on minority businesses. Now, we know that you conducted a hearing on a bill for tax amnesty, and you were the chairperson, and we watched that very closely because some of it became a little bit controversial. But
a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we're going to stay.
Okay.
Calm.
Okay.
And so we're interested in getting your opinion about the bill itself, and if you, and how would you make the changes going forward? Because I think first you understood what the people who wanted the bill introduced was trying to do.
That's right.
So how would you have handled that in terms of going forward to address the issues in this city? Because people feel like they're being overtaxed, and it's partly because of the gentrification. We think that people are being pushed out of their neighborhoods because they can't afford the taxes.
Can't afford to stay there because the appreciation is going up and taxes are going up because of the appreciation of the value of the houses.
Oh, you both are absolutely correct. I tell people whenever I speak, please, all these people who are writing to you, calling on the phone, pressuring you about trying to give up your homes, don't agree to it. If you end up behind in taxes, call me or come to my office. I have a person whose main job is to make agreements on your taxes. If you're behind, come to us. Let us help you. Do not give up your property. You don't have to do that. It's not your fault that you have to pay more taxes across the board. I remember the days even when water, you paid about $98, $96 a year.
And water has
now
gone
you
up.
pay that in a month.
Exactly.
That is
That's
a
right.
ridiculous bill.
That's right.
Last week we had Councilwoman Maria Canones here, and she was talking about the rainwater park and and gave us some others, and that's another topic.
And they're surplus.
That's right, and
That's
the
right.
surplus. I think it's absolutely ridiculous
it's
and
terrible.
driving people out of the city.
That's right, and they don't have to come to us, and they do it. But all that you're saying is exactly correct. We had a finance hearing, as you know, I'm chair of that.
Yes.
And Cindy Bass did a real good job to decide
She was
we want to
excellent.
cut back on interest and penalties for tax bills. It was wonderful. People can't pay. If I'm complaining
Me
and
too.
I earn a good salary, what can people do who are earning $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year? So we thought, I called, she asked for the hearing. The only time we could get was a Friday. That was even a Friday when we don't normally have hearings, a Friday at 2. And we got a quorum there. And when it came time for the vote, when I asked for the vote, Cindy said aye, and I said aye. And the others on the committee, I was shocked. Maybe Cindy knew. I was shocked that they all said no, and one of our sister colleagues vociferously and loudly, and
that was Sherelle Parker.
Yes, she said no.
Let the record note that Emma said that. Joanne
That's
did not.
right.
Okay.
That was Sherelle Parker.
I don't want to be accused.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was really.
And she
really
said
rough.
no loudly.
Yes.
And stomped out of the room.
It was really, really rough. I was so surprised because we had a room.
Who were the guys that voted against it? Was Alan Dom there?
No, Alan Dom had stepped out.
Dashed out.
But Greenlee and
Greenlee
and Greenlee called for the vote and then voted against it.
Yes.
And Heenan voted against it.
And Heenan voted against it.
Here's my thing. If you believe that there may have been some constitutionality issues or legal issues that were inconsistent with the state, because the state has to allow the city taxing authority, then understanding that the people before you came because they had a legitimate grievance deserve the respect and the understanding that maybe this particular piece of legislation can't answer that, but let's all come together because we understand the underlying issues.
That's right.
And because we can't assume that everybody is where people who can afford to do this. That's right. There are too many people that we know.
That's right.
That are losing their homes.
That's right.
Too many people. We don't have to go far. Look, if you are African American in the city of Philadelphia, you got some poor relatives, okay?
That's right.
That's
exactly right.
Poverty, you got some poor relatives,
That's
okay?
exactly
all
right.
of us have it.
Yes.
And so, if we're and all of us at one time or another have to go to in our pocketbooks and write checks to help
And
them.
help them.
That's right.
To get them through.
That's right.
Some people who live in this city can write a check for a home at the shore. Most of us have to write checks to make sure that our folks can either meet their rent or they can meet
That's right.
their mortgage.
That's right.
Or,
Or eat.
or something that goes wrong, because that's where the black wealth goes. Because when you have high poverty rates and when you have people consistently in the community that doesn't make money, we are the people, we are the safety nets that help people along. So even if we're personally not being affected, we know people who are being affected.
Absolutely.
That's exactly right, and that's the long and short of it. So we had.
So what happens now that they voted it down?
That's
and
right.
didn't take any appreciation for the fine people that were sitting in front of them. No appreciation for those men that were there who were very serious and very intelligent and knew what they were talking about. But I have to underscore, Cindy did an excellent job at explaining and following up on everything that they raised.
She did, and the council chambers was filled with men.
Yes.
They had their Friday service across the hall.
Wow.
They wanted to make sure they were there for this meeting. They filled up the chambers. They came and they talked about the fact that one minister said, I do not want my mother to lose her home. I do not want myself to have to leave my home. People need this relief. People need to know that their elected officials care about them, and that we're standing up to make sure that they get every consideration they can. They need a break on these taxes. So, frankly, I was surprised when this happened, and so now I've told Cindy. So it sits there. I've told Cindy I'm with her, and so we're going to have We're going to ultimately have another hearing on what it is, and I told her I'd work with her.
Right, because that's the right thing to do.
That's the right thing.
That's right.
I think that this is something that should have 17 votes in council
That's
for,
right.
and that everybody should understand that it is their obligation. We are all in this city together.
That's
and what
exactly
we have
right.
said consistently on this program, and we're going to continue to say it, we're one city.
That's right.
We're not 10 districts.
We're
one city.
That's exactly right.
And this issue is affecting everyone.
Every
throughout
district.
the city.
Yes.
And so I think it's the responsible thing to do. While we were on break, I was mentioning to Councilwoman Blackwell that during the time where we needed to spur and activate economic development in the city, the tax abatement laws were put in place to
bring
activate
income.
and bring businesses into the city.
Right.
But there was an unintended consequence to that,
Exactly.
which was the real estate values in the properties went up.
Skyrocketed.
They skyrocketed, and as a result, the tax assessments on those properties increased. As a result, people who had lived there for generations were unable to pay those increased taxes. So there needs to be a look back. Now, maybe it was never intended, so there wasn't a plan to look back over the effects and the unintended consequences of this development and this great boom of real estate development that happened in the city. But there are real people who are hurting every day, losing their properties, and so there's a responsibility on the elected officials to take a look back at the unintended consequences of what happened and to make it right and to make an adjustment. You can't just leave it there and leave people out on the street with nowhere to go and nowhere to turn to. And these are hardships that are real and that are happening in our community, and they must be addressed.
I agree.
Well, it's interesting. The whole issue of abatement is that we need to take the same money that gave people 10 years before they had to pay these real estate taxes. We need to do that for developers who want to build moderate and
That's
low
right.
income
That's right.
houses and build them in low and moderate income neighborhoods.
That's what we need.
That's what we need.
Affordable
we don't need to let
housing.
federal money go back.
That's right.
But we need to put it where it is now needed. They did a good job back then. So these depressed neighborhoods have come up. They invested, but now let's change where and to whom we make these investments.
And we got to be careful about there's an overinvestment in traditional minority neighborhoods. People want to come back to the homes that they grew up in.
That's right, and the neighborhoods.
They don't want to be chased out and to be viewed as interlopers in the neighborhoods that they've invested in
their whole lives.
Their whole lives in the bad time. We're going to break. You're listening to WRD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership Council. We'll be right back.
Brothers and sisters!
Don't miss The Source.
Weekdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on WURD Radio.
WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
What's cheesy, topped with a fluffy egg and crisp applewood smoked bacon? Easy. McDonald's new $2 breakfast deal. For a limited time, get a flaky bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit for just $2. And if you're craving something savory and sweet, get a delicious bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddles for the same price. Hurry in and bite into this tasty deal any day of the week. Only at McDonald's. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal for a limited time only.
We first opened about 10 years ago. We were small, just a few of us, but it was exciting. I always dreamt of having my own business. It was kind of slow at first, but things started picking up. We had big plans, but in our wildest dreams, we never thought we'd have this much work. Yeah, with so many businesses caught off guard by the storm, Reed Waste Management has never been busier.
What will become of your business after a disaster? Nearly 2/3 of businesses aren't prepared for an emergency, and 40% of businesses that experience a disaster never recover. Make an emergency plan now, before it's too late. For a free online tool that helps you develop an emergency plan to keep your business up and running should disaster strike, visit ready.gov/business. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the American Red Cross, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless, and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces. Just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Drive in with the Rappin' Professor, Dr. Aaron Smith. Drive home with Charles Ellison. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Philadelphia, independent black media.
We're back. You're listening to WRD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership. We're going to go directly to line 2, Wick.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I tell you, it is such a breath of fresh air to hear a group of ladies that are willing to be the tip of the spear.
Thank you. Thanks, Whit.
I just want to say, I know every one of you that are in that studio, and this is not something that you just started doing yesterday or today.
Right.
Thank you. You've been on this frontier march long before today.
Yes.
I just want to share with my experience with Councilwoman Blackwell. I just happened to be in her office one day, and a young man had been recently released, and he was in a halfway house, and he was looking for shelter, and he was trying to explain to her how much that he needed a second chance in his checkered past, and she continued to tell him, that does not matter. You're entitled to housing. And her passion that she showed needs to be put in everyone's glass of water in city council.
Who's this?
Government.
Who is he talking about?
Speaking about the councilwoman.
Blackwell.
I was speaking about Councilwoman Blackwell.
Right.
Thank you.
And that's what is missing. Passion for human beings, passion for your own. And if we can get more of that, we can get things done in this city. This amnesty bill was nothing more than just seeing people need some passion and people need some help, which City Council is pledged to do. I saw a project going on at 20th and Walnut, advertising $2 million condominiums start with a 10-year tax abatement. Now, if you can afford a $2 million condominium, you don't think you can afford to pay your taxes?
Exactly.
So let's do this. Let's see how much money we've given away in 10-year tax abatement since it started 30 years ago. And let's see what that amount is. And let's see what it is that we're asking people to give a break on for this tax amnesty. And I will tell you, people will be blown away how much money has went out the window.
Yes, I believe that.
Well, we thank you for your call, Wick. It's always enlightening, and we know that that you are at the forefront of pushing for this tax amnesty.
And thank you for
And we
your
appreciate.
comments.
Yes.
Let's go to line one, Abdul.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you? Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. I basically wanted to just give a little history of myself. I know that the young man who called before me was speaking for someone who was incarcerated and didn't have a chance when they came home. Me personally, I did about 6 years in prison. I apologize for the BPS. About 6 years in prison. Thankfully, they had a trade in the prison I was in. It was SCI Mahanoy. So I came home. I worked for a company, and after that, I established my own business off of that trade that I got in prison. So
That's great.
That is.
It is.
I appreciate it. So now I'm not only licensed in Philadelphia, but I'm also licensed in the Midwest. I have a company in the Midwest.
Well, congratulations.
Yes, that's
Exactly.
wonderful.
And that shows that it can happen.
No, and it can work. So now what I'm doing is I'm trying to empower young males from the ages of 9 to 21. We have an organization where we're trying to work with some high schools teaching HVAC, plumbing, electrical, carpentry, and stuff like that. So, if you guys can help us out, we're here. So
That's beautiful.
yeah.
Boy, you're a shining example of what can happen.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So we're going to try to keep working. Our organization is Young and Get a Trade. That's
what is it?
What we ask you to do is that we're going to put you on hold and have you give your information to Kayla.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
we think those kinds of organizations are good, and we want to vet them and make sure. And we'll call you. We're going to call him and have a conversation with him. We're going to go to line 3, Charles.
Yes. Good morning to everyone on the panel.
Good morning.
Good morning, Charles.
Thank you. I just want to call to comment first. I just want to thank all of you for all of your work over the for the services that you provide for our people and other people also. But right now, I just wanted to put forth to the panel of what exactly is it going to take for our people to understand how serious moving forward the odds are. And I cannot understand as a 44-year-old male, after everything that we have endured and experienced in this country, it's like if we're going backwards, we would be prospering more than what we're doing moving forward. So I'm at the point where I can actually see the picture, and there's many more black Americans that can see the picture that white racist liberals have bamboozled us, and we have fallen for it. And I don't mean to say that we should choose to be Republicans or Democrats. We should place our vote to the highest bidder and hold them extremely accountable to it, whether it's the Republicans, Democrats, whatever it means, because no matter where you go in these black cities across America, which is our country too, it's a black and it's a white country. That's period. No other people. We built this country, black and white people, but they are benefiting from it, and we are not even demanding anything versus taking it. So I'm at the point where there's a lot of not young and middle-aged black males, but there's a lot of us black males and women out here that are frustrated, and we're furious, and we're tired of wanting free handouts. We want our own. We had 60 years to build our communities, and now we're complaining that people are coming in and gentrifying them. What I'm seeing, when you could go to any impoverished community and you could see $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 cars outside of rental property.
That's true too.
So when are we going to actually start being serious? And to be honest with you, I'm not trying to fan anyone or anything like that or give you guys accolades, but I'm getting sick and tired of these elder black males that have been selling our community out for years. And it's horrific. I can't even understand how you ladies and young ladies or middle-aged women, how do they even look at us black men in the face without disgust? And it's sad. So I grew up in an age where I saw my grandmother and my grandfather and looked at him as praise, and I believe in order in the house as far as the spiritual, as under Christ, God, Christ, man, woman. But I'm like, yeah, we might have to rearrange the man-woman part.
Well, Charles, we sort of agree with you on all parts, and there are things that we can do. We can start by recognizing the problem and trying to come together. We have to have some voices in our community that will stand up. And unfortunately, for a very long time, the leading voices in our community are getting fewer and fewer. We have Councilwoman Janie Blackwell here. She and Lucian Blackwell have done so much for this city.
Right.
The late Lucian Blackwell, late congressman, city councilman, state rep, they went places where people did not want to go. They talked to people. I remember reading when you guys went to the Move House and had dinner with Move. You want to talk a little bit about that, Councilwoman?
Oh yes, that's interesting. And I was looking at a big, large photograph just yesterday of the time we were standing with Jay Coleman, Lucian and I were, and a preacher, looking at what they said was the dead baby that the Move people claimed that the police killed. I was looking at that picture just yesterday. And what's interesting is that Anthony Fullard, a black contractor, along with two other partners, has bought and is fixing up that area. So Osage and Pine will be transformed. It'll be positive. They bought the vacant properties from the Redevelopment Authority. They have already sold some 4. They have a few new neighbors. They're building up them all, and we are just overjoyed that we finally get to move forward, and that black people are doing the work just as black people lived in those houses.
Absolutely.
That were bombed. So life takes a long time sometimes. That was a sad chapter in the history of our city. But we're moving forward, and hopefully life will be better in the future. We've made a great, great, great beginning.
And that was always a great neighborhood, too, because I lived in West Philly my whole youth, and raised my kids in West Philly.
Yes.
But anyway, I had a question for you. I have the pleasure of coming to your meetings with Africans. I like your inclusiveness. You have formed an organization of African and Caribbean and African Americans, and I would like you to tell us a little bit about that group.
Oh, thank you. We created in 2000 the Mayor's Commission on African and Caribbean Immigrant Affairs, and we created in 2005 Echoes of Africa. And we work a lot with Stan Schroeder, for all of you who know him.
Love him.
And yes, we love him. You have to. He is so informed.
Yes,
and
he
he's
is.
Friends to us
And a
all.
world traveler.
Oh, yes, he is. He's been all over.
The world.
He's been to nearly 30 countries and has lived in Africa for years. And he's our chairman emeritus of both organizations. Yuma Ba, who has Kilimanjaro Restaurant, is now chairperson at 44th and Market, is now chairperson of Echoes of Africa.
She's a sharp dresser.
Always sharp. I've never seen her wear the same thing, and I've known her for years.
She wears beautiful African outfits.
Beautiful
Really?
and good
Cook.
and
And
committed.
a good cook.
Oh, yes. And she is just wonderful. So we represent 36 countries, our organization does. We represent 36 countries out of the 54 in Africa. We're planning a trip. We're trying to work out a trip for August this year. And we work with so many people. We had adopted a school when a youngster was beat up severely. We had adopted Tilden for a while to try to help bring peace to the area. And we work on so many, as you can imagine, under this president, we have so many even more immigrant issues than before. We've been working hard to make sure we have all our flags on the parkway. And we're working also on creating Africa Town in Southwest on Woodland Avenue. You know, I represent more Africans than anyone else in council. And we represent some 50,000 Africans in the general area. So we're working hard. You know, we want people to be able to come here and say, where can I go to see, get a good African meal? Where can I see Lest We Forget or African Museum? Where can we go to stay in a great hotel? So we are doing many things. We've started, finally, we have our architects and all. We've been talking about it a few years to create Africa Town in Southwest. And it's just wonderful, the work we're doing. As you all know, Penn Relays come, so we'll have the Jamaicans come and beat us again as they do every year.
And then you have to hear it at the meeting, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So we went to their affair last week. But it's wonderful. I learned a long time ago from Lucian E. Blackwell and his love for God and humanity that we're all brothers and sisters. And we have to learn that we're all the same under one creator. And we have to learn to help one another if we want people to succeed, our people and all people. If we want to make a difference, we have to work together, and life can be better for our people and our children who come after us.
You know, it's so important, Councilwoman. One of the things that I used to say when I worked for the state, and I had to do a lot of public speaking around the state, is that we're all playing on the same team.
Amen.
We're all on the same team, and if you handicap part of your team, you're handicapping yourself. In the city of Philadelphia, we're all on the same team. If you want to have a good, prosperous city, then all of your people have to prosper.
That's right.
It is real important to do that, and that's a good note. So give us some closing statements.
Well, I want to say that I hope everyone will realize that they need to come out and vote on May 21st. And it's so important. And there's so many people running, and there's so many meetings going on. Of course, I'm running for my 8th term, so I've been around a long time. And it is because I love it, and it is because it is the mission that God has given me to do, and that is public service. But I ask that all of you realize that you really do need to come out and vote, get involved in the process of government. If you won't be around, then you can still get an absentee ballot. If you'll be out of town, if you're ill, if it's too hard for some of you seniors to get out, just let us know. I'm at 215-686-3418 or 215-686-3419. As you know, I'm in room 408 City Hall. It was Lou's office, and I came right in. It is now my office, and we're honored for the privilege of service and ask you to be involved. Thank you all. God bless you, and I look forward to talking with you again soon.
Councilwoman, what is your ballot number?
My ballot number is 84.
84. I just wanted to say Monday is the last day to register to vote. So I am hoping that people...
No, I think that passed.
Oh, was it last Monday?
Yes,
19th.
It was the 22nd.
Is it Monday's the 22nd?
It was the 22nd.
It's past Monday.
Oh, it's passed. Okay, so it's too late, so you have to do the absentee ballot, right? Until when? It goes all the way to...
We've got a while.
Yeah, up close to the election, I think.
That's right,
Yeah.
because the election's not till
Not
May
till then.
21st.
Well, I know Joanne's going to thank you and close you out, but I certainly appreciate all of the information that you've given us, and I also appreciate the great work that you're doing in City Council.
Thank you.
You
Thank
know we
you
love
all.
you, and we see everything that you're done and are still doing, and we just love it.
Thank you. Thank
Okay?
you. I love you all, and God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Give us some music.
You are my refuge in trouble or in need, and with you on my side, I know everything will be alright. Oh, I know it. Oh, everything will be alright. Now I know everything will be alright. So you have to say this. Be alright. Yes, it will, yes, it will, yes, it will. Everything will be alright. When you get home, just walk around your house and sing this to yourself.
The Source.
The Source.
Weekdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Special guest host for National Pata every Monday in April.
The Source. Exclusively on Word Radio and WordRadio.com.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy. Oh yes, things are getting hot, hot, hot. It's time to get out your scorecards and dust them off and sharpen your pencils and pens and click on your social media. It's time to register and vote big time. And I say, the rapping therapist and Grandma Ijoy, learn this rap with me. Come on, get your tongue, teeth, lips, and hips ready. Let's get the whole world singing and saying, I, you, he, she, they, we, all must vote. I, you, he, she, they, we, all must vote. I say, I, you, he, she, they, we, all must vote. We are in this voting thing together. Talk to your young people, your family, your new voters. Have family discussions about voting, the necessity of voting.
This is Word Radio, independent black media.
Since 1904, Philly's top sandwich pros and homemakers have always started the exact same way, with those legendary Amoroso's rolls baked fresh daily. Word family, put Amoroso's rolls on your shopping list for your kids' school lunches and your next family gathering. Want to make your very best sandwiches? Always start with the very best sandwich rolls. Pick them up today at your favorite supermarket or food store. Amoroso's, why Philly's sandwiches are world famous.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Source
on Word Radio.
96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
There ain't no time, no time for sorrow, and we ain't got time, no time, all time to be sad. And maybe the world ain't what it could be, but to understand that it's a no reality. Oh, don't give in. Oh, I said hang on in there. How many times did you hear your mom and daddy say, oh child, I never had it so good. I wanna say thank you for the stars, 'cause even my soul, I know you did all that you could. I'm just a part of your dream, this I know, but I do whatever possible to make this thing grow. Oh, don't give in. I said hang on in there. Oh, don't say tomorrow. If you woke up a king, now tell me just how.
We're back. You're listening to Word, WRD, 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership. I'm Joanne Bell here with Emma Chappelle and Rita Hill Esquire. And we're going to go directly to Joey. Hey,
Hi, Joey.
Hi, Joey.
It's funny. Good morning. I'm all right. I'm blessed. That was a good interview. You know.
Thank you.
It
Yes.
was a good interview. And, you know, I've got to be normal, cool. But it's that I happen to be listening to Malcolm X Battle of the Bullet before she came on, and it's something on what Malcolm says about how we need to be aware of how some white folks put up another black person to run against a strong black person in our community. So I said I don't want politics. But Joanne told me hang on for a reason. Today is a deep day. Joanne, you know, in the year 2016, it'll be only what happened on a Sunday morning, too. We lost, that whole week we lost a lot of great servants from the city. And that Sunday we lost Billy Paul and Barbara Daniel Cox. And the day is the third anniversary of Barbara Daniel Cox and Billy Paul's transition. And then the day after that, that Tuesday, we lost Sam Satan Sr. And then that Friday, we lost Bill Miller Sr. So, you know, I just believe in keeping the ancestors alive and their names alive.
You're absolutely right. And it is so important, Joey, and I'm glad for the reminder, because where we are today in the city, a lot of our young people don't even know the warriors that we had and the people who have kicked open doors.
That's so true.
For us. And that's because we don't keep the legacy and the history going. It is so, so important to do that. It's extremely important to do.
Now, I got a picture on my wall that I'm looking at right now with Dave Richardson, Betty Shabazz, and Barbara Daniel Cox. And, you know, and check this out. Today would have been on Uncle Ed's birthday, Dr. Ed Robinson's birthday. Next tomorrow, I think it's Mumia's birthday. So this strong week, we got strong servants, and like you said, I've been listening to all the conversations. And the reason we don't have what we have is because most of like you said earlier, Joe, most of the strong soldiers have made transition.
They've transitioned.
You know, most of the strong soldiers have made transition. And I need to say this too. You know, I salute one sister that I got to give praise to, because she's keeping up the tradition of the boss lady. You know, big lady over in West Philly. I mean, because when it comes to judges, you know, I'm glad I heard a commercial put on about another sister for a black woman for judge. We need to start paying attention to what's going on in this society and in our community. You know, and I know a lot of people don't like to vote for judges or the DA because they lock you up.
So Rhonda Hill Wilson has been taking the lead, and she's been talking about it. And we're going to be doing, as Black Women's Leadership, on May 9th, a whole judicial forum. But we're going to be pushing it because judges are important. And I think yesterday she had on, I think it was, and I'm trying to find, Amanda Green.
She did, yep.
And what we're being told is that this is an African American woman from the western end of the state who's running for Superior Court, and she's being totally ignored on this end. And we're going to have a little bit more to say about that soon.
Yes.
So.
And I understand that she's excellent.
Yes. Rhonda told me last night that she had a conversation with her, and she really
was impressed.
Good. Yes. So thank you, Joey, and we're going to go to line 2, Maurice. Maurice, did we lose him? Hello. All right, let's go to line 3, Leon.
Hi, Leon. How you doing?
Okay.
Good morning.
Today?
All right. Joey was mentioning about white folks putting up an African American to run against a strong African American incumbent in our community.
Yes.
Which is ridiculous. That African Americans have a right and a duty to choose among the best African Americans to be the leader. And Joey's, the logical extension of this argument would mean that once you get an African American in office, it would be tantamount to treason to run against them. And I don't accept that. Also, about the schools, I do think that we can't have a prosperous and vibrant community unless we are in charge of our children's education. I understand in the news today that Strawberry Mansion School is about to close down. They have shut down about 23 schools, all in the black community. And how can we control our children's destiny if other people are making the decisions about their education? And I blame African American leadership for that. Of course, white folks are in charge. The mayor, who's white, gets to select all 9 members of the school board. However, when we send African Americans to office, we expect them to come up with solutions to these problems. There has not been a solution to get us in control of our children's education, and that's a disgrace.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And that's what Black Women's Leadership Council is all about and what we're doing. We're trying to shine a light on what is and isn't being done by our elected officials. And so we're going to call them out. We're going to shine a light on what isn't being done so that the community is aware when it's time to go into the ballot box and cast their vote.
I want to just say one thing, Leon, before we move on. I think that it's healthy to have competition because we get to see a campaign of ideas. And so we don't ever suggest that African Americans shouldn't run against each other. That's not what we're saying. We all have a right to support who we support, and it's a campaign of ideas. And the more that our people know, I think in the end, the better off they're going to be. What we have had in the past is too little information. And so people were being handed ballots and they don't know. I think people ought to be known for the work that they've done. And thank you for your call. We're going to go to line one, Joe. Joe?
We did Joe.
No, that was Joey.
Oh, Joey.
Joe?
Yes, hello?
Hi, Joe.
Good morning.
How you doing, Joe? Thank you. Listen, I agree with that brother that just hung up. I wanted to ask the question, though. Did Councilwoman Blackwell say whether or not she had voted for AVI and the tax abatement? And, there's and the 40,000 lots that a lot of them are owned by black people that get water taxes, but they don't even have water pipes or anything. They pay in taxes on something that we don't, quite frankly, they don't even service. It's like taxation without representation. Like I said, there's over 40,000 lots. And what this does is it prevents people from acquiring wealth. We have a lot of community gardens, a lot of leisure places people can sit. But if they're taxing those places, even though they don't have water, these water taxes, that's unfair. That's not right.
Oh, we agree. We have been talking about how the water department is operated. I don't know if you heard us last week. We had Councilwoman Maria Sanchez on, and she is definitely has plans in her next term to address the water department. She has been talking about it. We believe Councilwoman just a few minutes ago indicated that that they have they're sort of like a self-taxing agency, and so they're going to deserve far more scrutiny. And so we're with you on that, Joe. We're moving on to line 3, Maurice.
How you doing? That interview was good, but the thing I'm trying to say is everybody loves Janie Blackwell, but the heart of the issues is 46 market, affordable housing, and I haven't heard anything from her about that. And she avoided those questions very well.
Well, I don't know that we zeroed in on that question, because let me just say to you that we have issues with the 46 in Market Street as well, and we've talked about it a lot on this show.
But the thing I wanted to say about that is that I live in her district, so I'm not just talking, but that area, that's her area. She has a youth study center which shouldn't be there right there at 46 and Halford Avenue in the neighborhood. Now, you study centers shouldn't be in the neighborhood. So what do you think about that?
I'm not quite sure that when I drive through, it seems to me that there is a much more commercial corridor in that area. So that would be right behind 4601. What would be your purpose?
Right across the street.
Let me ask you a question. Where would you put children?
I thought it was fine where they was at, right there in Center City, right along the Parkway.
Well, you know what? That was years ago, and there's not very much we can do about that. I don't know if I agree with you or disagree with you. I think the roots of all of that was they were moving stuff off the Parkway. And so what we have to do going forward is pay much more attention to where things are. But I think we have to be careful about what we say where we put children. Thank you, Maurice. We're going to go to line 4. Okay, I'm getting confused here. Is it line 2 or line 4? All righty, Frank.
Joanne, how's it going?
Oh, it's going today.
Good morning.
It's going. I'm sitting here with a little computer in front of me, and she's writing and putting names up, and then she crosses them out, and then she moves them over to line 1, 2, 3. And you know, old people get confused real fast.
Especially with this technology, right?
With this technology. Right.
Yeah, right.
I told my wife, she always says, you know, why do you walk so much at night at 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock? You should be sleeping.
Uh-huh.
I said, well, that's what old people do.
That's right.
Oh, my.
We walk a lot now. Yeah.
Well, for those of you who can walk, if you don't have any knee problems, then you walk.
That's right.
That's all you do now is walk and watch old cowboy pictures.
But wait a minute. At least you can. At least you can. That's the most important. You got up this morning.
That's the most important thing.
And Joanne, that's a blessing.
That's a blessing.
I'm here to tell you. You know, you folks are doing a real, finally, somebody is doing a real excellent job in terms of not identifying politicians. Because some of them are really good. Some are, you know, everyone. You have average doctors, average lawyers, great lawyers, great doctors, you know. Yeah, but sometimes I've always said in politics, if somebody's carrying a 50-pound bag of sugar, and I know they can only carry 25, I'm gonna give them 25. Now, if he's carrying 50, and I know you can carry 100, I'm gonna give you the 100-pound bag of sugar. And what you folks are doing politically is something that should have been done a long time ago. You know, you have to identify the issues that affect Philadelphians. And you have to bring these politicians together because, Joanne, you know for a fact, and I know for a fact, that some of these politicians have been fighting each other over minor stuff.
Ridiculous. Stuff. And we're tired of it because what's that proverb? When the elephants fight, the only thing that happens is the grass gets stomped on.
That's it.
And so we have been in between all of these ridiculous fights. Fighting like you're a gang on the corner, and you're holding up your turf. In the meantime, the community at large loses.
But this is what you have to do. You have to give them, they say, homework assignments on council people, on city issues, state people, on state reps and the state senators. This is what's affecting Philadelphians, and we're going to send this homework assignment to all of you. And we expect all of you elected officials to put your heads together and deal with this crazy, these acronyms, AVI, coming up with bogus material and data. No, you got to straighten this out. That's one. The water issue. This is another homework assignment.
Yes.
And we're going to evaluate you on your homework. Just like when you bring your homework back to school the next day, you pass or you fail.
Well, Frank, they think that we're going to go away. They think that this is election season and that when they get past May 21st, that we'll go away. We're not going away. We're just getting started. And so what you're on the campaign trail today talking about what you're going to do, we're going to hold you to it. We're going to keep your feet to the fire. We're going to hold you to it. Don't get too comfortable. Don't measure the drapes, because we're going to be here and we're going to be right on you, right through. Frank, thank you. We got to take a break. You're listening to WURD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership, and we'll be right back.
Reality Check. Reality Check, hosted by Charles Ellison, Monday through Thursday, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. right here on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on wordradio.com.
Independence is a precious thing, but now and then everyone needs a little help. Isn't it good to know that getting the help you need doesn't mean drastically changing your life? Always Best Care Philly and Delaware is there to give you just the amount of help you need, from a few hours a week to as many hours as you need, handling everything from light housekeeping to meals, and so much more. Don't struggle. Contact Always Best Care and see how easy it is to age in place. Call us at 267-909-9248 or visit abcphillybristol.com.
Philadelphia is coming together to support Alan Dom for City Council, number 66 on the ballot. Listen to Philadelphia boxing legend Bernard Hopkins explain why he's standing with Alan Dom in the May 21st Democratic primary.
In all my championship fights, I train to go the distance. Alan Dom, he's going the distance for us, empowering more black entrepreneurs and business owners, helping former inmates get a fresh start, giving our kids access to the educational opportunities they deserve. Alan Dom is a champion who will always fight for us.
Alan Dom, number 66 on the ballot, donating his city council salary back to our schools, fighting to give Philadelphia's children a brighter future. On May 21st, stand with Bernard Hopkins. Vote Alan Dom for City Council, number 66 on the ballot.
Paid for by Dom for Council.
Support independent black media and join the Forward movement now at 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com. You know we don't play when it comes to our mothers, and if we could give them the world, we definitely would. This Mother's Day, celebrate your mother in a way she'll never forget. Start or renew your Forward membership between now and May 6th and be entered to win our exclusive Forward Mother's Day prize package, which includes a pair of tickets to the Mother's Day Music Fest in Atlantic City, Saturday, May 11th, featuring Maze with Frankie Beverly, Christopher Williams, Kim, and Al B. Shore, a gift certificate to Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa, dinner for two at Green Soul Restaurant in downtown Philadelphia, and an overnight stay at the Cambria Hotel Philadelphia downtown. Don't miss this opportunity to create some special memories with Mom. To be entered to win, start or renew your Forward membership between now and May 6th by calling 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com.
You're listening to The Source
on Word Radio,
96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Like a puzzle piece, we fit together perfectly. Picture my life with you in it, I'm complete. It feels like I've waited a lifetime, and I'll wait again for you to be mine. I'll let go of everything for this, make sacrifices because I know it's worth it. You gave my life brand new purpose, and now we're here, baby, we deserve this. I'll be with you now too. Tomorrow until forever I'll stay. I swear I'll never let nothing, no one come take your love away. I swear, yeah, I promise I'll love. I will give you more. It's you that I adore. I swear, God will save us, nothing will break us. You have me. I swear. If I tried, I couldn't leave you if I wanted to, 'cause my heart and my soul became one with you. It feels good having fun with you, real good when I'm loving you. I'll let go of everything.
We're back. You're listening to WURD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership, and we're going to go directly to line 2.
George.
Hi, George.
Good afternoon, ladies. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Doing good. How are you?
Yes. You know, on that water revenue thing, he was Maria Corona Sanchez, Councilwoman Sanchez, and Councilwoman Blackwell 2 years ago, who brought the water department in. They have more money than any department in the city. When they wanted to raise the rate, and the councilwoman asked them, "You sitting on all that money over there? You talking about you need more money? Give me accountability of what you're spending before you even come in here asking for more money."
Right.
And it was thanks for Councilwoman Blackwell, Maria, and Sidney Bass that now we have a thing where so it sounds like your curb, you know, where the thing they charge you so much a month, $8 on your bill.
Yes.
In case your sewer line or whatever breaks, the city, you know that.
Yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Right, but no, that's good because anywhere to get your curb dug up, it's like $3,500.
I know, but
why are we paying it as residents? The city is responsible for the infrastructure of the city.
Right, the city's only in charge. The city's responsible for the connection from the street in. This here is from your sidewalk, from your house all the way to the curb on in. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying, but most of the municipalities are giving the sidewalks to the people as if that's their sidewalk, and it's not.
Well,
It's not their sidewalk.
You know what? We can agree to disagree, but I'm gonna pay the $8, and I'm paying it for my seniors too. Because if they don't get it, and your sidewalk and that problem come, you're going to have to pay it. We can argue it all day.
No, I think we ought to pay it, but I also think that we ought to investigate
challenge
it. Challenge it.
So when the budget comes, you'll see those three. They're the only three council people who jump on the water department. Water revenue get away with a lot.
They sure do.
Water. Let me also think, it's like the mayor then came on 2 or 3 times, and Councilman Blackwell has explained this to a T. Council for 4601, all the money that Michael Nutter put in there, what was city money, Councilwoman Blackwell got that back for her district. The only money that is questionable now is that federal money. Did they use it in the correct way? But as far as all that money, now that they put new money in the Inquirer building, all that money that was used for that went back into West Philadelphia. So some people don't want to admit that. How many times do a person has to explain all the money that was spent at 4601 that was city money came back to the 3rd Councilmatic District? I mean, how many times? I mean, you can explain and some people just don't want to hear that. Also, when you were talking about the schools, you know who you blame for that? You blame Dr. Height, who's a waste of time and a waste of money. All those contracts, back up a minute. They offered to put solar panels on the schools and, you know, the little bit of schools that they have left. The builders trades that offered Height that offer, we will put solar panels on all the schools to save on the money of debt. All we're saying is that let's figure out what the cost is, we'll supply the labor, and they had the money. Height never answered them. Also, when you talk about these after-school programs and all that there, who cut them up? Height. When you talk about now Strawberry Mansion only got 100 and some students in there, the trades offered to put the trades back in there, fully equip the place. Height never answered. Height is only interested in people who want a college education, up-level degree, same thing he did in where he came from. That's all he's interested in, upper echelon people. He's not interested in the low-level poor people. That's why every 2 or 3 years, if you go down there on Broad and Spring Garden, where that office is, the board, they get new carpet, new computers, new cards, unlimited credit cards, and everything. New cell phones, all of them got iPhones. They're the worst. So when you start jumping on council, jump on them down there. They could talk about how many white people run the board and all that there. They don't control them. They can say they do. All things is just submitted to them. Contracts and all is submitted to the board, and they make sure black people don't get anything, okay? So you can hype them up, blow them up, and all that. And I want to thank y'all today for straightening Sherelle Parker out. She's out of control. She never do anything for black people. She act like she do when she come in there hollering and screaming. But don't look at her hollering and screaming. Look at her voting record. Nobody ever talks about her because she know the rules. You're not allowed to talk about African-American women in council. She has very bad behavior. If you look at it, and like I said, y'all been there, you see her jumping up, howling and screaming, just like when she just did that tax amnesty for those seniors.
Yes.
Done a whole lot more. Look at her voting record. Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Wow.
Wow.
Moving to line one, Mo.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
One thing, and please hear me out. We got to start our own party in this city. There's enough black people here. You got all these mega churches, these mass jails. If they just get into the ear of the congregants and tell them we want to start our own party, we could come together, have our own, like back in 1979, we had a black political convention up at this church up in Tioga. It used to be a movie theater. And out of that convention, they decided to support Charles Bowser for mayor. We could run our own slate of candidates, and we got to stop this old plantation politics with this Democratic Party, because we're not getting anywhere. We have 24 years of black mayorship in the city of Philadelphia, and what do we have to show for it? It's ridiculous. And these Negroes, I didn't know they were going to shut the school. That's your district. You had to know they were going to shut the schools down. And that's just and I use that term lightly. Cheryl Parker, she ought to be ashamed of herself, because y'all women sitting in there, that could be your mother or your grandmother losing her house. And that is wrong. You taxing the poor, but you're going to let these rich white developers get away with it. Then back in 2006, this white businessman down in Center City told me that there's white people come in from New York with plenty of money, and they done brought Center City up. It's no accident. And this is happening under the watch of a black president of city council. All these black politicians we got, what we have to show for. It's not right.
Mo, we agree with you to a certain extent, but you seem to forget that there's only one mayor. Just saying. Line 4, Gary.
Yes, good afternoon, ladies. I just wanted to call in and say, our elected officials, theoretically, when we vote them in office, they're supposed to work for us. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so we've had 3 black mayors and a majority black city council. And you look at the condition of our city.
Right.
Or a big city in the country.
Hey, Gary, let me ask you a question. How many mayors were there before there were those 3 black ones? How many since the inception of Philadelphia?
What do you mean, how many mayors?
How many mayors have there been in the city of Philadelphia before those 3 black mayors?
Oh, I can't give you the number right now.
Would you say that there was a problem? So I'm told 96. 96 mayors.
Okay.
Okay. So you get on here and you talk about 3 out of 96.
Okay. Can I finish my point?
You can finish your point. I just want you to be correct.
You want me to be correct?
Yeah, you're lodging a complaint about 3 black mayors when we live in a city that had 96 mayors. Go ahead.
I understand that. The other previous mayors were white. I'm not letting them off the hook. My point is, as a black man, as a black person, you look at our schools. I don't see anything that's been done to improve the condition of our schools, of our communities and neighborhoods, and also this gentrification thing that came about where they're taking over our people's communities and people are being displaced. To me, that's disgraceful, and it's a great betrayal of our people. What have they really done for us to improve the economic state, the educational state of our people? I don't see them saying anything. And then we go to the police, I'm going to say, overreaction to our people that's going on in the city. I have to hold them. We have to hold them accountable. We can't keep voting for the same people over and over again, and we're not getting anything out of it. Some of our people are so disgusted. I know they don't vote, and I preach to them all the time. You still have to vote. You have to hold people accountable. But we treat them like celebrities, and they act like celebrities.
Now that I agree with you. I think
we could agreeably disagree on the other part you were talking about. But my point is, as a black man and a black person in the city, I think they have not really pushed to really serve us to the degree that they should.
And we agree. We agree with you, and that's why we're on this show. And we intend to continue to hold people accountable.
Okay, can I say something?
Sure.
Dr. Height, when he was coming here, I called up. He comes from Prince George's County.
Right.
It's the wealthiest African-American county in the country.
Yes.
I called my relatives there and I asked about him. I did not get good reviews at all. So if you look at the scheme, they hire someone from the outside and then you do what you're told. You have marching orders. So that's what Dr. Haidt is doing. He's doing what he was told, like when Mo was talking about, whoever previously about that. He's doing what he's told to do. And our people, we have all these people come from all over the country. I was reading an article even in the Wall Street Journal, New York. They said, hey, our real estate market is totally saturated. Go to Philly. We'll relocate you, and you just get on a train and come back. So people coming to Philly, they're coming in. I grew up in Mantua in the bottom, as we call it. And, I mean, right adjacent to Drexel University, they're all down there.
They sure are. It's totally. I came through there yesterday. It's totally gentrified.
Oh, yes.
I was back here in the day with YGS and all that. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yes.
Now, they've neglected our community, but now they're starting to rebuild down there. And it's not really for us, in my opinion. It's for these new people that are coming down there now. And it's disgraceful that our elected officials are allowing this to happen. And I have to put some blame on us because we're not as connected and on point as we should be, but that's because we're dealing with all these other issues.
So Gary, they're telling me to go to break, and so I appreciate it. And you call back. We'll have some continued discussions next week. I like a lot of what you have said.
And me too. And I'm hoping we look into education after Election Day.
Yes.
And that's why we're on the air.
That's
we're
right.
listening to WRD 96.1 FM 900 AM. You're listening to The Source. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership. We'll be right back.
Freedom's Journal, The Art of Jerry Pinkney, is now on view at the Woodmere Art Museum. Master watercolorist and renowned illustrator, celebrated worldwide and featuring over 100 artist illustrations, Pinkney's works presents spirited watercolors and powerful depictions focusing on the civil rights struggle and the pursuit of freedom, including Charles Blockson's groundbreaking escape from slavery, the Underground Railroad. You don't want to miss this. Freedom's Journal, The Art of Jerry Pinkney, now through May 12th. See it today. Visit woodmereartmuseum.org.
Need a new mattress? Stop by to see Julian, the Mattress Man, located at 7421 Stenton Avenue. You deal directly with the owner, Julian, to ensure the best prices on name brand mattresses like Sealy, Posturepedic. Call 215-424-5550. That's 215-424-5550.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, this is Juanita, owners of JD's Auto Body and Painting. We're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue, right there at the intersection of Wayne and Washington Lane.
We really like to thank all you Word listeners for the support that you've given our business, and we really hope to see you in the future.
JD, tell them about our products and services we have.
We have a new state-of-the-art paint shop along with our body shop and detail shop. We can help you with the dents and scratches from the winter season.
Come to JD's Auto Body and Painting. Come on out and check us out. We're still honoring that Word 10% discount. Give us a call, 215-848-5949. Again, 215-848-5949.
Thanks again for supporting our business. We really appreciate you.
See you at JD's Auto Body and Painting.
We are progressive and proud and interactive. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at onWURD. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Streaming live at wordradio.com.
I'm the shh, be quiet. I've been on the low hater diet. I'm the shh, be quiet. I've been on the low hater diet. Cause I just woke up and I feel some type of way. I get all choked up when I see how much I made. And I feel so good, like James Brown in his day, singing, hey, hey, hey. Watch me do, watch me do, watch me, what I do, watch me, and let me hear you sing, hey, 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 wow.
We're back. 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WRD, The Source, Black Women's Leadership, and we got Ernest Owens in the studio, y'all.
In the house.
In the house. Ernest.
Thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, we know the fireworks is about to begin.
Yes.
We know that, but before Ernest gets all warmed up, we got to clear this board, and so we're going to go to line 3, Diane.
Make it quick.
Good evening, Miss Joanne and Miss Emma.
Hi there.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good.
Enjoy your shows every week. You bring the information and then you bring the solution. So I really enjoy that. I hear Miss Emma in the background say, "That's right."
Then she thinks she in church, Diane. Diane, she thinks she in church.
Amen.
Anywhere doing what you want to do, living your life, but you choose to help the black community.
Yes.
I really appreciate, and I know we appreciate it. But my first thing is, I'm kind of nervous. I think the biggest problem in Philadelphia is just my opinion that people need to get out there and vote, because 30% coming out to vote, we're not going to have a successful city. And I remember in the 70s, they used to have the signs and the bull.
That's right.
The car.
Mm-hmm. The bullhorn.
But what we have, Diane, what we have is voter suppression taking place right now. There's a reason they don't want you to know that there's an election going on so that you can sleep it. And we're moving real quickly, Diane, this week because we have a guest in the studio. We just want to clear the board, so we're going to go directly to Cynthia. Cynthia? Line 1, Martha.
Yes, hi. Good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just wanted to say something to the voters. I'm in agreement with the last lady that 30% is not going to get it. I really think that we need to get out there and support the candidates that we are voting for. And then after they are elected, then we need to support them while they are in office. We cannot continue to sit around and put all our eggs in one basket or elect one person and, they're going to change the world. It's not going to happen. We have to work collectively. And that's all I wanted to say. I'm going to let you ladies go.
Thank you. Thank you. And we agree. Ken on line 4, and then we're closing out.
Yes, good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Ken.
Hello there. Hey, now you know what I'm going to say. First of all, we love y'all. We appreciate you. And I just love y'all every week more and more. What I want to say real quick is...
Thank you.
Yeah, the earlier caller said something that sparked the idea. Maybe our approach is wrong. Maybe we are guilty. You are guilty. Maybe I'm guilty. We have the professionals. We have the knowledge. We definitely have the money. We have the know-how. We have the technology. We have everything we need to make a difference in our community. The problems we face here in Philadelphia seems to be the problems black people are facing all around this country. It's very similar. Maybe our approach is different. We continue to do the same thing and expect a different outcome. We need something new. And I'm just putting it out there, if you look at other people in our community, other ethnicities, look at the Chinese, they have Chinatown. Okay, we're trying to create our own community and our own business. We should have our own political parties. We should have our own association. We have to create something that is just ours instead of electing the same people and expecting something different, or participating in this system and expecting a different outcome. We need something new. We need a new approach. As, for instance, creating our own business, starting an association. Business owners, because black business owners have the money. Everybody kick in, maybe $10,000. Sponsor somebody to open their own business. That new business only uses the services and materials of the other members of that association. They work the business. They own the business. After maybe 4 or 5 years, they will own it outright.
What we have to do is to employ some of the models that existed. We talked earlier about Maynard Jackson, the late Maynard Jackson in Atlanta. We talked some earlier, not today, but in an earlier program about Mayor de Blasio and what he's doing. And we really need some proactivity. Thank you, Ken, for your call. Ernest.
Yes.
Now, you were a moderator on Monday
Yes, I was.
for the PA, what is it,
PABJ, Philadelphia
PJ?
Association of Black Journalists.
Okay, you know, I've got that tongue twisted. And then you wrote a absolutely fabulous article, and I want you to talk about both.
Yes. So let's talk about the Mayoral Candace Forum. It was on Monday night at the Community College of Philadelphia, CCP. Vincent Thompson, myself, Denise Clay, and a student from CCP were the panelists, and it was moderated by Andrea Lawful Sanders, who was the moderator. And then we had Bukovitz, Kenny, and Anthony Williams, who all three of them, this is the first time they actually sat next to each other face to face and had an actual forum, like a debate. Yeah. And this is the first time this has happened. There will be plenty more coming up in the next couple of weeks. There's only going to be one that's televised at NBC 10. And so I will be there to cover it, but I won't participate in it. They probably will have their own moderators. They should have me come on. Y'all should advocate for that. But they had the event. It was a success, packed room. Lots of people were there. Lots of an engaged audience. People were clapping in between. People were looking, startled. It was strong. They gave the mayor a whacking. Bukovitz especially was very Bukovitz was seated between Williams and Kenny and was really just telling this guy he wasn't anything 1,000 different ways and variations. He did. And wow. Bukovitz was just going after him. And Kenny, he has a thing where he gets very nervous and gets red. Yeah. And he definitely got red towards me because I followed up on my question I had for him about his remarks about blacks in the city being overqualified. And super talented to the point that they do not want the pay cut of working in the public sector, but the private sector, and that they don't want to do being in the public sector, which is an absolute lie. And I really wanted to double down that question and say, what was his diversity plan? Because I've spoken to this mayor several times over the past couple of weeks, different meetings that he's come to, and what I've noticed is that he doesn't actually have a diversity plan to address that problem. Like when you ask him specifics about a plan, an action plan, like he has a plan for safe injection sites, which he's doubled down, which he's recently kind of did a 180 on right now because he's getting a lot of criticism and pushback. This is a mayor that is a 180 mayor. He's the mayor who said there weren't going to be a Made in America. Now we keep it Made in America. This is a mayor who said that, he was going to end stop and frisk. Look what happened with that. Interesting enough, he does not have a plan when it comes to addressing issues around diversity and race in this city, even though this is a majority of color city. I'm not going to use the term majority minority anymore because that falls into the article that I wrote about, where if we're in a city where it's okay to say majority minority, that doesn't even make sense. That's oxymoronic. But it's really not, actually, because you're in a city where it's majority of people that are of color still being treated like minorities in a city where they are actually the racial majority, which implies segregation.
It does.
That statement
apartheid
falls into apartheid.
That's right.
How are you in a city where you're majority minority? That doesn't even make any sense. In this city, there's no such thing as majority minority unless you are recognized that the majority of the people in the city is marginalized. It's really a majority marginalized city.
I would agree.
Yeah,
I
think that's what your article
majority
was saying.
Marginalized.
Yeah.
Okay,
majority
I like
marginalized
that.
City.
Okay.
It's an MM city.
That's right.
And that's,
We live in an MM city.
That's where we live, in a majority marginalized city. Someone can have that talking point, but you got to cite me, the politician.
Okay, we will.
Yeah, somebody is going to use that.
I love
That's a majority
it's true.
marginalized city.
Yes.
And it is based off of the fact that, when we talk about the inequity, see, this is not opinion. These are facts.
Facts.
Pew Research came out with their report called The State of the City. This is public access information. What I love about doing digital online journalism is that you can hyperlink things. So if you was in my article and read it, you can click on those hyperlinks and it directs you straight to the data and information. These are scholars and researchers and posters that do this data. The information handling the campaign financing. All of that is all there for public consumption. This is done by, third independent studies, not the soda tax, not corporations. It is done by independent studies and researchers. This is just facts. And you
from
can
well-known companies. From well-known companies.
Listen, I tell people are entitled to their opinions, but not entitled to their own facts. Here's a fact. 2.5% of the businesses in Philadelphia are black-owned. 2.5, not 25, not 2.5.
Only 2. Yep, 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5% is black owned in a city where, over 40% of the city is black.
Yep.
And you know what I tell people is you got to get to a point where you got to stop trying to blame other black people for these atrocities. You got to look at the stakeholders. Yes, we can be, we can say, I'm just tired of black people in our community caping for white mediocrity. How can, it's so funny how there was black people in the city caping for white mediocrity.
Mean covering it up.
Yes. You're defending mediocrity in City Hall.
Exactly.
You're okay with this guy. You will blame Darrell Clark. You will blame all these black elected officials. You will throw Nutter. You'll insult all of these black politicians. But the highest seat in this city is the mayor, and everybody doesn't want to touch this man. He's not giving you jobs. I see the data. You look at his cabinet, only 4 out of 14 are black. All these people in Northwest that's cheerleading for him for a mediocre job. You're not getting 6 figures. You're not. You're not. You're getting little contracts and little things, little trinkets.
Little tiny contracts. The major contracts have been taken away.
$16 million contract,
That's right? That's
taken
right.
away from the city.
It was $17 million.
17 million.
1 year with 3 extensions, which is a $68 million contract, for which, for Team Clean and Donna Ali is 40% of her business. She's a subcontractor.
Wow.
That's right.
The mayor is now trying to defend himself. I got a call from a reporter the other day and asked me whether or not John Street owned a piece of PRWT. I laughed for a full few seconds and said, who sent you with that nonsense? Because when they can't defend themselves on the facts, they make it up.
Well, you know what's
and somebody is sending people to say very stupid things. John Street has a right to have an opinion about this contract. Chris Brennan wrote an article for which I wrote him back.
Yep.
And he puts me in the article as the obvious. It said I work for John Street. I also work for Wilson Good.
Right.
Also work for Ed Rendell. Also work for Bob Casey. So do they all have something to do with this contract? I've never had a word with John Street about how he felt about the PRWT contract.
Well, it's funny how they try to talk about impropriety when it comes to black politics, but what about Kenny and Local 98?
And what about
We're not
Heenan?
going to talk about Heenan?
What about Heenan?
We're just going to act like, there hasn't been issues with those building trades in this city?
Well, because they're not black and it's not sexy enough. You got to tie all the black people together with something nefarious.
But you know what's so
that doesn't
funny?
exist.
For all of that scandal that they want to say, you would think we would be at the top right now. With all the money, all the jobs, all the resources, all the you would think with all this black conspiracy theory, we would just have so much equity.
Well, the problem is they don't want us to have any.
No.
None whatsoever.
No, and that's apartheid.
So if we have a little, that's apartheid. So if we even have a little bit, they want to take that away. If somebody's rising through the ranks and the businesses are growing, they feel like they have to knock the feet out from under it. So it's not
I can't tell you how many times the Kennedy administration, people from his I'm trying to find the nicest way to say this, but people from his coat, from his administration at City Hall has called throughout the years of my career trying to shut me up.
Yeah, that's what they try to do.
Intimidating, called nonprofits I serve on boards for, have sent people. Marty O'Rourke, who's affiliated with his campaign, called the Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists, didn't know I was the vice president, and said to the president that, we gotta be, I just want you to know about Ernest and how problematic he is and the articles and things he's saying about the mayor. To almost suggest that the mayor wasn't going to come speak if I was going to participate.
Well, let me say this. We've been very vocal about the mayor, not because of who he is as a person, but his policies.
His policies.
And we have been trying to get information out through Black Women's Leadership, but we belong to a group called Women Connected. And Women Connected is having a mayoral forum May 2nd. Yeah. And we were told by our affiliated groups that he told them that not only was he not coming, but to take his picture off of the information. We are the largest voting bloc, single voting bloc.
Black women are.
Black women.
Black
are.
women.
And we and all the Delters, the AKAs, Coalition of 100 Black Women, Black Women's Leadership is all coming together to have a forum. And you say not only are you not coming, but take your name off.
Well, I think you should inform people at that forum that that's where the mayor stands.
If he
That-
does not
this is how he
come,
feels about
it
black
definitely
women.
will be broadcast.
And
Black women should not give him their vote. If that's the way
Absolutely.
he feels about us, he thinks he doesn't need us. Don't need us,
And Miriam
buddy.
Tasco has to explain that to people. You know, she's in the Northwest, they're in the Northwest. I know they're doing good work, but it's really hard because I individually like them as individuals. I like them as elected officials. But we differ when it comes to supporting this mayor, given that this is a mayor that may have made it rain for your district, but there are countless other districts and areas of Philadelphia and issues that is not working. And I know that at an event when he had his launch party at Green Soul a couple of, 2 months ago, I believe, he had said that Cheryl Parker should be the next mayor, which was already where I realized very quickly what is going on here.
Yes.
He said that at his opening.
So that means
I'm very much so that she's next in line to run for mayor. And because
that's probably the commitment he made to her.
And I get her
to get her support,
and she's got the
and
Northwest.
get her money
and
if she's going to run.
And I get her, and I get it for her because I think that she's in a situation where she knows historically that incumbents have a high chance of winning, and she is like, "Look, I'm not going to place my bets in a situation where history's told me otherwise." And so in her mind, if he becomes the incumbent, he's going to most likely get reelected. That's going to secure her bag. But I want to caution Cheryl Parker to think about the issue of, let's say he does get elected on May 21st, how unpopular he's going to come into this seat. He will definitely get less than 50% this go around. I definitely think he'll get less than 50% of the vote. And if that happens, you're walking into a situation where there's a lot of things that are going to erupt. One, by then, Heenan and Johnny Dopp will go to trial. There'll be things that will come out. I think I'll stick with the Feds' 96% conviction rate. Mm-hmm. They'll get convicted. And a lot of other things will come out in that process. And we'll also find out that Rebuild will flop. Rebuild is not going to happen. And if it happens, it's going to be downscaled. It's already downscaled. They will not get those contracts. They will not secure the majority marginalized contracts that they need to secure the bag to make it diverse. Safe injection sites that he used to push a progressive agenda, that's not going to fly. And a lot of the soda tax will get scaled down. There will be an uprising with the soda tax, and we got to look very carefully at who's going to be those seats in City Council that's going to possibly shake it up. That report that City Council had asked for the unintended consequences of soda tax is not coming out before election, but will come out afterwards, which will then lift the veil on all of the controversy and all of the concerns that people have been saying right now that they will not know until after. Because she's going to be affiliated with a man that's going to be very unpopular. And I don't know if he's going to make it the next 4 years under all the pressure he's about to get.
So did they say that they passed the resolution to actually do the impact study? I didn't hear that.
The impact they introduced it.
I know they introduced it, but did they pass it?
I don't think they passed it yet. Did they? I think it was introduced.
They passed the resolution to do the study.
Yes.
So the study is going to happen. The study is in motion. It's by a third-party group. So that has happened. The thing is, the results from it
won't come out.
Is it going to come out until afterwards? So we'll probably maybe see it in the summer, right before session's over, which will be a hot topic. You know, Acme has came out about their stuff about the soda tax.
Yeah, because he held up Acme. Well, he was beating Jeff Brown
with
ShopRite down to the ground, and finally Acme had to finally.
But let me explain something to black people, especially because we know how we shop. People kept asking me, how did soda alone shut down the store, or how could it shut down the store? I'm not going to get into the policies of individuals, but I just want to explain logic. If you are not going to the store to buy soda, You're not going to go to the store to buy anything else.
Absolutely.
Like if I'm going all the way down to Delaware or somewhere else to buy soda, I'm going to also buy my groceries too.
Right,
so
exactly.
these stores are losing customers collectively.
Absolutely.
Families that would buy soda are not. If they're buying, listen, they're saying I'm going down so to get my soda. Translation: I'm going down so to get my groceries.
Right, to do all my shopping.
You're not going to
it changes your shopping habits.
Yeah, your shopping habits going to change. Why would somebody go to one area to buy their food and then go somewhere else to buy soda?
You're not going to do it.
You're not going to do that.
It wasn't about the soda. it wasn't about the revenue just from the soda. It was the overall revenue to the store that went down.
Is a business that runs on very tight margins.
Yes, they do. That report is going to show those unintended consequences. The logic and the information that they keep pushing is that every single time. Listen, I'm black. I went to public school my entire life. I went to pre-K growing up. I went to public school my entire life and got a good education enough to go to an Ivy League school. I want to say this and be very clear. Being against the soda tax does not mean you're against pre-K in schools.
Right.
And we got to stop telling black people in this community who have families that because they don't support the soda tax, they don't support pre-K in schools. Are you crazy?
Well, there's two things I want to say about that. First of all, the mayor uses the fact that he's helping children as helping black people. And you know it's going to take a while for the children to become productive.
Thank you.
What about their mothers and fathers who are raising them who do not have income and cannot stay in their homes? So he's using the kids because he's got pre-K and all of that.
Well,
so
that's
one
have a
name.
solution.
That's one name. Yeah, that's not the solution.
He doesn't. The thing is, when you don't have a plan, here's a reality. You're going to push what you know. He's a talking robot. During the entire debate, he was getting signals by his campaign manager, Brandon Evans, to what he can answer, what he cannot answer. He skipped questions during the debate. He wouldn't even further on and do a rebuttal, and he was getting signals from his campaign manager. And I look to the black people in his campaign team that's really doing this. Do you understand that you are basically running and operating a man who pretty much is not advocating for the majority of the city that you are a part of? And recognizing that you are complicit in a system that will benefit you, you talented 10th black folks in this city that have all of this influence, but you're gouging down the wealth and equity for everybody else.
That's right.
There should be a Northwest coalition. The benefits of what's happening in Northwest in certain parts should benefit all of the city, including West and North.
So we're going to have to go to a break. You're listening to WRD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership, and we're going to return with Ernest Owens.
Support independent black media and join the onWURD movement now at 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com. The Kimmel Center offers free arts education programs to schools across the region. Teaching artists visit classrooms to educate, engage, and inspire the next generation using creative learning experiences, and schools take trips to the Kimmel Center for live performances. The Kimmel Center is committed to educating Philadelphia's youth by providing access to quality arts. For more information, visit kimmelcenter.org. Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM, WURD.
This is Cody Anderson. Palace Travel provided me with one of the most memorable trips I've taken to Ghana, West Africa. Palace Travel specializes in tours to Africa, including Ghana, Senegal, and South Africa. Throughout the year, Palace Travel has scheduled trips to Africa, including the next Panafest celebration in Ghana, July 2019. The trip of a lifetime, the historic return of the African diaspora after 400 years in the Americas, August 5th to 14th. Africa's improvement on Coachella, the annual Afrochella Festival in Ghana, December 27th to January 3rd. Ring in the new year in Ghana. Call Palace Travel to reserve your place on one of their scheduled Africa trips with convenient payment plans. Call Palace Travel today at 215-471-8555 or visit their website at palacetravel.com.
You know we don't play when it comes to our mothers. And if we could give them the world, we definitely would. This Mother's Day, celebrate your mother in a way she'll never forget. Start or renew your onWURD membership between now and May 6th and be entered to win our exclusive onWURD Mother's Day prize package, which includes a pair of tickets to the Mother's Day Music Fest in Atlantic City, Saturday, May 11th, featuring Maze with Frankie Beverly, Christopher Williams, Kim, and Al B. Shore. A gift certificate to Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa, dinner for two at Green Soul Restaurant in downtown Philadelphia, and an overnight stay at the Cambria Hotel Philadelphia downtown. Don't miss this opportunity to create some special memories with Mom. To be entered to win, start or renew your onWURD membership between now and May 6th by calling 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com.
You're listening to The Source
on Word Radio.
96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Let me tell you about the world and the way things are right. You've come from a different place, and I know you've traveled far right. Now that you've told me what it is,
He's the wizard.
Wizard.
Go ahead, you're listening to
purpose.
WRD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership, and we got a party going on in here. But also we got Ernest Owens. And Ernest, you was hitting them notes. So let's bring it back.
Well,
Keep
you know,
going.
like I said, it's a we got to stop using the term majority minority.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it's a majority marginalized
city.
And it's based on, just the fact of, like, we have all these relationships, in the city. And I just think that, like, I think what people are upset about the most is just that all the information that's coming out, the data that's coming out, is confirming that all of those black people that we knew that were these political insiders, these people that were so connected, that was, had the ear of the mayor, had the ear of this person, this dealer, that it doesn't make it's not adding up. Somebody's behind the scenes really making it. These people are in many ways being propped up as, placeholders, figureheads.
That's right.
And in my piece I talked a lot about this idea of, like, how does this work in a city that has a very, very, very diverse elected office? It does not work. They cannot advocate for us. They cannot do the work necessary when all of the equity and wealth is going to the majority minority of the city, which is white people. They really are essentially the majority minority when it comes to wealth, right? They are the majority of the wealth, but they're also the racial minority.
Racial minority.
So they hold most of the jobs, they hold most of the contracts, they own most of the generational wealth, the properties, the homes, the businesses. They're really the majority minority of the city.
And now
they're racial minority,
and now
but
with
they're majority.
gentrification,
They
they're
own
making sure they're growing more
property.
That's right.
But unless we call this what it is and deal with it as the emergency that it is,
right,
and to tackle poverty in a way that we should. The thing is that it's never it's never where it needs to be.
Right.
It's never at the forefront
Of
what
the
we're saying-
conversation.
of the conversation.
That's right.
And that's why we're saying, regardless of wherever we are, we're not going away.
Right. We're not
so
going
for
away.
those of you who count on us going away, shutting up, that ain't going to happen. We're going to follow it, and we're going to keep talking about it because we're going to make sure that it stays where it needs to be. We're going to line one, Jim. Hello.
Yo.
Hey,
Hi, Jim.
How you doing?
Hi there.
I just wanted to make a quick comment. These things have been going on ever since City Hall started turning dark. We've always gotten a few guys here and there to suppress the information, and I call them a house Negro mentality. That's all it is, because they continue to perpetuate the white man's ice is colder than the black man's ice. And as long as we have that condition, we've got to point them out and identify who they are and then make necessary changes. I've been saying that for years, but no one's listening. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
You know, I just believe that what it is that there's a lot of fear in the city.
Yes.
And I see it, people say to me off this air, aren't you afraid to say what you're saying?
Yeah.
Don't you fear retaliation? If you continue to fear things, you're never going to get past
Well,
it.
you know what's funny about that is I always say, black people don't have enough in this city to be fearful.
Right.
Right.
You don't
what
have,
do you fear?
What are you losing?
Losing.
You don't have anything right
anything.
now, really, collectively as a community. We only got 2.5% of the businesses in this city.
Right.
What you gonna lose?
What
We're
you
gonna go
gonna
down to 1%? Like, I just think that it
That
would be
is
more
so true.
benefit and value to try something different.
Yeah.
I
'Cause you
think the
keep
way
doing
that
the
we've
same
been doing
thing,
the same thing, we expect a
same
different
way
result.
and expect different results.
Right.
It's insanity.
I think they should be more fearful of the continued poverty, because that level of poverty is the unintended consequence of that level of poverty is in every aspect of our
But
lives.
here's the issue, and this is
I'm starting to think I'm starting to think that's a plan.
By design.
Yes.
Absolutely. But here's the,
absolutely,
here's
it's
the
by
weird
design.
part, though.
Absolutely.
People keep saying, why are the homicide rates going up?
Poverty.
Poverty.
People don't have
get high. You
jobs.
can't get high.
Why
you
are the
can't get
drugs
high.
going up? The people lost hope.
You got an opioid epidemic. You got a situation that is largely with homicide rates. You got this high unemployment rate, and then you're figuring out, okay, there is a correlation between depression, drugs, unemployment, which is then related to systemic poverty. And so, if the mayor doesn't have a plan to address the poverty immediately, then he does not have a plan to address homicides.
That's right.
That's precisely.
And you don't have a way to address crime. If you don't have a platform that speaks... See, here's the thing. The soda tax is not an immediate plan to address poverty. It's a plan to address generational poverty, but it should be complemented by something else. So... let's just say that
something
you want to
that's
fund
right
pre-K.
now. Right
now. Where's the right now plan?
We need the right now.
There isn't
plan.
a right now plan.
He does not have a
That's
right
been
now plan.
abandoned.
He
The
does not
whole
have a right plan-
poverty
right now
issue
plan.
and discussion and the collateral effects of it are off the table. There's no one discussing that, and that's what's really happening. That's what's going on in our community.
Do you remember
the collateral
when
effects of poverty?
Do you remember when George Bush, the father, was running and Bill Clinton was running against him, and James Carville said the problem is the economy, stupid?
Yeah.
And that's where we are.
And so it's poverty.
It's poverty.
And
the economy for black people.
Yeah, well, it's intertwined.
Yes.
It's all related.
We
All
do
related.
not have a prescription to
Right.
address all of those things. And stop looking at them as it's an isolation.
But it's hurting. But you know what's going to happen, though? We're going to hit a boom and a bust. See, the city, based on what we're doing now, it's going to hit a boom and a bust. Because here's the issue. I didn't want Amazon, but we couldn't get Amazon because of the lack of what he would consider talent in the city. But because there is no pipeline to graduate education and success, we don't have the capacity to hire our own people for these jobs so it could benefit us. So Amazon can't come here,
Right.
because it will cost them so much money to have to outsource people. Versus if they put it in New York, there's enough people in New York, that there's enough talent in New York. We have not invested enough in our own all tiers. Pre-K, high schools, education, the current people here to give them skills and training. There's a lot of black and brown people in this city who are professionals who aren't even getting enough development to talk about business ownership,
right,
entrepreneurial skills, investing in them in tech, diversifying them. You know what's funny? A lot of my friends who are black, who are doing great work in Philly, went to Penn. And they say they stay here for a year and they move to New York.
They leave.
They leave. They stay for a year because the cost of living. They say, look, I love it. I can get a nice place for $1,000. I can live pretty well. And then when they start getting a job market, trying to get apply for jobs and things, they get discouraged
because they don't get hired.
They don't get hired. So
And
they say, you know what, I'm gonna go to DC and New York.
That's in these major corporations too.
That's these major corporations with these major educations.
We're going to go to line 1 and come right back. We're going to go to Denise on line 1.
She cut right off us.
Well, I'm getting a signal.
Well.
Hi.
Hello, Denise.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
I am well, thank you. I have been listening to you all for quite some time. I got really excited when I heard that you all were on a Wednesday. It's been really great.
Thank you.
The reason for my call is I had just a couple things to say real quick. And a gentleman called earlier, and he spoke about what's going on in West Philadelphia in our district. And he made a comment about the Youth Study Center. And you asked him what to do with the children. Where would you put the children? I also have a problem with the Youth Study Center, but my problem with the Youth Study Center is it is a residential neighborhood. Not only is it a residential neighborhood, but it's right around the corner, on the very next corner is an elementary school. Someone just a few minutes ago said fear. We have a problem with fear. I can't understand why it wasn't considered, the fear that it would have placed in those elementary school children, knowing that they're right around the corner from a prison, that they have to walk past that prison every day on their way home from school. The problem here is that when that was decided upon, there were no meetings in the neighborhood. There were no one spoke with the residents to see if they would even want this in their neighborhood. This neighborhood has been bombarded with all kinds of things that I'm not even going to go into because it would take too long to oppress and suppress in this neighborhood. And I don't tell anybody how to vote. I just tell them to vote. But everything that I've heard today has not benefited us, period. It has not benefited us in regards to where certain funds are supposed to be coming into our neighborhood and things like that. Yes, there's some really good development going on. That 59th Street and Market development is wonderful. But there are other things going on where they're placing halfway houses in right around the corner from schools, and they're placing all kinds of things. I'm a block captain. I've got prostitutes being let off on my corner now that we didn't have before. They put those 2 halfway houses around the corner from me. I'm sweeping up condoms. So when I say that, everything that I've heard is not necessarily true, I have firsthand knowledge. So when that gentleman called earlier, I understood his indignation, and I understood why he was upset about certain council people, because a lot of us had those issues, but a lot of us will be going to the polls on the 21st.
We thank you for your call, Denise. I want to answer her question about the Youth Study Center. I see it as a treatment center. I don't see it as a prison. And that's why I asked, where do you want to put these children? Because to me, it's not a prison. And that there are children who for one reason or another, who have broken the law in some way, and the court adjudicated them delinquent and placed them there for treatment. And so I see it as that. Now, I can't speak to how the community received it or how whether or not there were hearings and stuff, but sometimes we get to a point where we practice not in my backyard. And so sometimes we want solutions to our problems, but we don't want to house those problems. But I also agree with Denise about an oversaturation of things that gets put into certain neighborhoods, and I think that the people in that neighborhood should speak up to it. And so Emma said I cut her off, so and I'm getting ready to get cut off again. We have to go to break. You're listening to WRD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to The Source. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership, and we will be right back.
The Source.
The Source.
Weekdays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Special guest host for National Baton every Monday in April.
The Source. Exclusively on Word Radio and WordRadio.com.
Did you know that smoking a hookah for 1 hour is equivalent to smoking 10 cigarettes? Or that a single black, Dutch, or Switcher cigarillo has 3 times as much tobacco as a cigarette. Even the leaf wrap is full of tobacco and harmful to your health. Whether it's from a hookah, cigar, cigarillo, or cigarette, where there's smoke, there's danger. To learn more and for help quitting today, visit smokefreephilly.org/danger.
1 in every 4 of us can't make ends meet. We can keep pre-K for our children and still get rid of that ridiculous soda tax. Drug injection sites are not safe, and someone gets killed almost every day in Philadelphia. From poverty to potholes, we can do better. I am Anthony Hardy Williams, and I have been listening to you.
We can move Philadelphia forward together. Vote Anthony Hardy Williams for mayor. Paid for by Williams for mayor.
Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation? Follow us on social media using the hashtag onWURD. Be heard. Stay connected to Word Radio. Independent Black Media.
The Sweet Treat Hut is the highest rated juice bar in Philly, located on the corner of 50th and Thompson Streets, providing delicious, healthy vegan food, juices, and smoothies. Treat yourself to a cup of happiness. Call 215-877-1471.
Next Thursday, you will be caught in an extreme flash flood.
Disasters don't plan ahead, but you can. Talk to your loved ones about making an emergency plan. Get started today at ready.gov/plan. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Source
on Word Radio.
96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
We're back. It's very, very animated in here today. We're here with Ernest Owens, and you're listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership. And Ernest, you want to go back to... wait a minute. I better stop messing with Emma.
That's right.
And let Emma ask her question, or I might not have a ride home.
That's right. And I'm supposed to be a co-host, so I'm trying to ask you a question, okay?
Yeah.
My question is really a comment and a question.
Yes.
They tell me in Africa there's a saying that the fish rots at the head. And to me, the head of the city is the mayor.
Right.
But also the heads of these corporations who are not hiring qualified African Americans for key jobs in their company need to be addressed.
Yes.
And I think the mayor, it's incumbent upon him to work with some of these corporations, not only for him to take leadership and do it, but also talking to the Chamber of Commerce and those people who sit at that table and brag about what they're doing for African Americans by buying tickets to dinners and things like that, and not giving us jobs.
Yes, we got to start with the chicken dinners and have more conversations at the boardroom.
That's right.
Everybody's getting comp tickets to these galas, but no one's walking out with contracts.
Exactly.
We go to a lot of these events.
And we're making the person who's given the gala successful because those people are pretending that they have the control of the black community. So they get a lot of money. So you go to a luncheon or a dinner free, but it's not free.
Right. I mean, the issue is that it's embarrassing that, you know, these companies are billion-dollar corporations, multi-million-dollar corporations, and they're getting all this kudos for one-day service projects.
Exactly.
Events that say community cares, right?
Yeah, but where's the
They wear
diversity?
green T-shirts and they do the cute little community stuff. And these are billion-dollar companies. And what's funny is that there's nonprofits in the community, right, that are out here doing the day-to-day work. You got organizations like Unity in the Community. You got other groups that do this work. Yeah. Okay. And the funny part was, and I have to say this, that there are certain state reps and elected officials and council that do turkey drives and do gift drives. Mm-hmm. And people say, look at them giving to the homeless. And growing up down south,
and then the homeless are starving.
But my thing is that you give it. My whole thing to them though is, thank you for giving people a meal for a day, but that's not the work of a city council person. That's not the work of a mayor. That's not the work of a corporation with over $1 billion. You got companies like Pico where, you know, they write a couple of cute $15,000, $1,000 checks. So some of these law firms give $1,000 checks, and they're walking around here like the King of Sheba. And you start to think to yourself, okay, so I can give $1,000. I give money back to my school, and it's more money than that. Right. And I don't get a big old award ceremony and gala.
Right.
And you know, I just think we give these banks and these corporations in the city way too much credit for doing things that they owe us. Essentially, they don't pay pilots. These universities that are touting themselves as nonprofits don't pay pilots. Temple, Penn, love Penn, I went there, but they don't pay pilots. They don't pay taxes. And you got this tax abatement program, right, that is a hot mess. You have all of these other voids, and people keep saying, well, how can we get the money? It's like, go tax the folks that actually got the money. If you can tax poor black people for soda, why can't you tax these nonprofits and these big corporations to pay their fair share?
Exactly.
And you know why they won't do it? Because they keep claiming that
they want to keep
we'll
them
lose
here.
These businesses. Let me be clear with you. This city will turn into Detroit in less than 5 years if we don't get our act together.
That's the truth.
We will turn into Detroit quickly.
Explain that.
What I mean by that is that if you don't know about Detroit, then where have you been? But what I will say is that what will happen here is you have a situation where we will be in so much debt, we will have not prioritized our most marginalized citizens to the point that they will vote. They already are. This issue is a state of emergency.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Gun
this
violence
city is
out of control.
Is in a state of
control.
emergency, and it's a response to the poverty. It's a response to the unemployment. It's a response to a drug epidemic problem that is not just injection. I'm going to say something that might be controversial to some people, but I don't support safe injection sites because I think that safe injection sites are inherently racist. I say that because the opioid epidemic is not just impacted by needles.
No,
it's Percocets and pills and everything else, and they're creating spaces only for needle injection.
That's true.
And you know, our people are not necessarily using needle injection as much as certain people.
That's right.
And so when you look at the people that are going to those facilities, they don't look like us, but they're in the neighborhoods that look like us.
So nothing is addressing our problem.
The community. Where are the safe spaces? How is this city run itself by saying it's a sanctuary city for immigrants, which is great? But where are the safe sanctuary cities for actual people that are unemployed and impoverished in the city?
That's right.
It's just ironic that we can do every other group except for black people in a city where we are the majority. There's no safe. Where are the safe?
There's no safe place.
Where are the safe protection sites from gun violence? Where are the safe protection sites? Not injection sites. The safe protection sites for communities against gun violence in a majority marginalized city. Where are those sites? You come into cities, you come into neighborhoods where you have not addressed their poverty, their lack of economic diversity, their local businesses. You don't support them. You put a business up, you put a safe injection site there, turns people off from the area.
Mm-hmm.
And you put that in areas where you already know they're ravished. And you think you're doing something, but most of the people that are going there, many of them are coming from places like Radnor outside the county.
Right.
And then you expect council people who are trying to heal their communities by themselves oftentimes to address these issues. And then they tell me, we got to do this. Well, you know, government is supposed to work for the people, not the other way around.
Absolutely.
I shouldn't be doing work for the government. I shouldn't be, people are like, oh, we should invest in cleaning up our stops. I pay taxes for what? if you're going to do that, let me stop paying taxes to the city. If you want me to actually clean up my neighborhood and do all this work that the city and my elected officials do, then don't charge me taxes.
One of the things that Rhonda Hill Wilson says often and frequently, she doesn't think that the African American community in the city of Philadelphia and within the state of Pennsylvania gets a return on their tax dollar.
No.
That one forgets that we also pay taxes too.
Mm-hmm.
And that when we do the analysis, we don't get the return on our dollar. And we have to really talk as if people understand that we're not just wanting to be the beneficiaries. People make money off of our blood, sweat, and toil, and even our misery.
And our money disproportionate is not going to our communities per capita. The money is going to funnel salaries, $90,000 salaries in DA offices that are largely white. Our money is going to provide pre-K and Rex, not just for black kids, but all kids, including the white kids in nice neighborhoods.
We're going to reach out to Krasner because we want to have a conversation with him about that office.
Yeah.
We want to know a little bit more because Black Women's Leadership Council was one of the first groups, African American groups that stepped up and endorsed him.
Yeah.
Supported him to help push him over the finish line. And I think we're owed an explanation about his hiring practice.
Yes.
Well, one thing that I think is unfortunate that goes on in our community, in our poor communities, citizens don't think that they have the right to ask for services. Trash pickup, cleaning the streets, social services, the things that they need. They won't get out, they won't ask, they won't demand because they think because they're poor, they have no right to ask. And that's right.
Nobody will listen.
And no one will listen. That is exactly right. They think no one will listen because they're marginalized people in society. And that is not true. Just because you're poor doesn't mean that you're not entitled or have the right to ask for services.
That's exactly right. You're a member of the community and you have a right to advocate for yourself. And for whoever else you want to advocate for.
And you know, it's funny how there's so much sympathy for others on the other spectrum when it comes to their atrocities, but somehow we have to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps all the time. And I think that that's the most upsetting part is that you know, it's almost weird how everyone's questioning why there's so much trauma in these communities, but then we have the numbers we have, and all we get from the mayor, quote unquote, we got to do better.
Right.
Yeah, we know that. We know we got to get better. But you're elected and you're getting a six-figure salary and you're getting all these appointments and you're getting all this money, campaign money. You're getting all this support, and I expect the formula. You know, city government is so damn big. Mm-hmm. Like, look at how many jobs we have.
Exactly.
There's so many jobs. Deputy of this, associate director of this. All these commissioners, all of these task forces, all of these focus groups, and this is what we get. You gotta, you know, when I saw the 2.5 number, I had to tell myself, what do we have a commerce department for? With all these chambers, we have all this money and all these board meetings, but we got a 2.5% black-owned business number.
So when you have a transition team that has 138 plus people on it, and you only have 35 African Americans, that translates into all of these departments, who that also translates into who works in city government. When people who go into city government come in with biases in positions because, and it's not biases because they set out to be racially discriminatory.
Right.
They choose the people that they know and like and that they have relationships with. So when an RFP is being written, they write the RFP so it fits the people that they want to get there.
That
when
they know.
Select the panel,
That they know.
they have the panel that's there that selects the people that they want. And if you're nowhere in that mix, chances are you're not going to get any of those contracts.
And the reality is that the whole idea about, oh, we have a panel, we do all of this, then why are the numbers like that? That's what I said to him at the event. You know, you all were there covering it. I asked him, I said, you're giving me all this numbers, but the numbers are here and this is here. You can tell me, you can name on your finger as many black people that you know that work in your cabinet and outside of your cabinet. You can't take, you know, you can't take control. You can't take credit for the work of civil services, because that's not your work. You're not appointing those people.
If you don't have them on your Rolodex, you won't know them. And so I'm being told we're coming to the end of the show. It always goes by so fast.
It's so fast.
It really does. And when Ernest gets here, he done turn up the heat, all of that other stuff.
We're fanning ourselves in here.
And we be fighting trying to ask him questions and stuff.
Right.
We get all excited here.
Get our questions
I just
in.
enjoy it. I enjoy it so much. We want to thank WORD for allowing us to do this. We love it.
That's right.
And
We're enjoying
it as well. And we always wanted to get the information out, and we've had this, we have the opportunity to do it. Thank you, Ernest. Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to rock us out with something, Kayla J?
All right, Kayla.
Oh, yeah. I want to just say that we often talk about a purpose-driven life. And to me, I feel like this is our purpose at this time in our life. And I'm so happy to be a part of this effort.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I'm going to be hiding behind Emma.
Okay, so if you want to join Black Women's Leadership Council, please send us an email.
bwlcphilly@gmail.com.
Right. Okay,
right.
Send us an email.
Rock us out.
Thank you.
Gotta make this quick. Gotta make it stick. Better begin, so listen up, won't you give it ear to hear the hip communicate. So much to say, so little time. Five for having fun, so taking this along. Only got about a minute, apropos. Not too many seconds in it, and not just fair. I consequence I'm unaware of, cause with this is when you write a story, it just happens. No time for executive chatness. So much to say, so little. If you come here to live, but don't be prevented. If you forget, please try. The rules are exempted, but it is redemptive. A formula for rich your life. So much to say, so little time.
Listen to WORD Radio on the go with the WORD Radio app. Search for WURD in your favorite app store today and take us with you wherever you go. Stay connected to WORD Radio, independent Black media.
Who will protect the citizens of the tri-state area from careless motorists, doctors who make medical mistakes, and companies that make defective products? Who will ensure that property owners are held accountable for dangerous conditions on their land? Who will represent the people with the honesty, integrity, and compassion that they deserve?
I will. I'm Sam Anion, your advocate, your lawyer, but most importantly, I'm your friend.
For more information, call 215-935-6901. That's 215